What do you think about Snape being a bat?
Oh, yeah.
He's not an actual bat, but Ron was like, can he transform into a bat or something
Yeah,
like that?
vampire.
Here's
vampire.
maybe the more appropriate question.
What?
Well, yeah, Jen's theory way back when he was a vampire, which is so good.
Yeah.
But if Snape could, if Snape was an animagus or can transform into an animal, what animal would he transform into?
Honestly, I can't get bat out of my head anymore. It just feels so right.
Yeah.
It feels right. It
I'm like-
matches.
It's like at night, it's black, hides in the corners, can just like creep around.
But animal is greasy.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Greasy and annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that
Like a
would be.
weasel? Ooh. He's not weasel, though.
Like a ferret.
I think this question, too, is like, what is their Patronus form, too? Because let's just say those two things are one and the same, which they're not. But if they're like an animal form.
Just thinking of a video I watched.
Oh, no.
Is it appropriate?
Yeah, it was a gorilla, and he was annoyed with something. It's not even related at all to this. I think I sent it to a couple people. I don't know. And it was a gorilla was so annoyed at I think it was a zoo. It's in captivity, and she's making like all this noise, and you just see her go like this, and she chucks her poop, and it lands on Grandma's nose.
What?
It landed on her nose, like it got Grandma. And they zoom in, and it's
Are
just
you
hanging on her
serious?
nose.
Oh, it must have smelled so bad.
Wow, what a shock.
So I'm just thinking of that with Snape. Like, he's so annoying. That's what I want to do.
Throw your feces on him.
So Jen's Patronus or animagus would be a gorilla, specifically so
To
she can
throw.
fling her poop at Snape.
Because she did it so well. I didn't even know what's coming.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Because she's going like this with her arms, and you don't even see it coming.
How come we didn't all see this
We
video?
just see this video
I gotta
prior.
I'll
You
find
gotta
it.
find that and send it to us.
You might have to post it now, too. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
What about Snake being a Snape being a snake? Does that Patronus kind of fit him a little bit?
I feel like,
Or animagus?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like that would make sense.
Could he be Nagini?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man.
I feel like a bat's pretty good, right?
I feel like a bat is too cool for Snape.
Wow, bats are cool. Nice. Yeah.
He's like something that's really annoying. Like, I want to say like some kind of insect that's like so annoying.
Fly.
No, that's the
gnat.
best thing you could be.
Give me a fly.
I just I screwed myself on that one.
What do you guys? Let's go through
He's
a few
a
different characters
mosquito.
too.
There you go.
A Snape. Snape is a mosquito. I like that one.
He sucks your blood. He's annoying and itchy.
Let's go through a few different characters, trying to figure out what their spirit animal is, what their animagus form would be. Who do you think Dumbledore would be?
Phoenix.
Yes, Phoenix. Yeah, he's Fox there.
That was
I feel
kind of
like that'd be a
easy,
good
but
one.
Yeah.
There's a piece of magic that we're going to mention in this too, because something came out of his wand and he like sent a message to someone, it seemed like, and it took the form of a bird-like thing.
Oh, yeah.
When Crumb was attacked, or no, when did that happen?
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
that was when,
when Crumb was attacked.
attacked in the forest
Yeah, yeah.
and
He sent it to Hagrid.
came.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
So we're going to talk about that. It was a
I
bird
missed
form,
that.
so we'll get there when we get there. Dumbledore's, that's a good
Some
one. What
big
do you
like
think Ron's
eagle
would be?
hawk.
Yeah, an eagle could be good. What's Ron's animal form?
Like a red panda.
It's like
Aw.
Playful.
I was going to say something playful.
I
Yeah.
feel like a dog would be pretty good for him too.
Hmm.
Just a dumb dog though.
A ferret.
Oh,
Could he
Ron.
be a ferret?
Oh yeah, I could see a
Picks
ferret.
up his looks around.
Prairie
What's going on?
dog.
Oh yeah, is that what I meant? A prairie dog.
Well, maybe.
What
Ferrets
would
do a thing too.
Yeah.
what would Hermione be?
A golden doodle.
Loyal, very smart. Me and Jen have a sibling golden doodles, by the way. If anybody wants to know that.
Yep. I got the girl. You
Yep.
have a boy.
What do you think like Crouch would be?
Moody.
His animagus form is moody. Jen, I have so many questions in my notes specifically directed to you for that theory. So I'm gonna challenge some of your theories for a little bit. I'm trying to get some answers.
Crouch.
Something really stuck up, like that has no flexibility.
Right.
Armadillo.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Hard shell.
Yeah, I like that actually.
Nothing gets through to him since he acts like that with everyone.
Jen does not like Crouch.
No, I haven't since the beginning, so nothing's changed. But then when I listen to chapter 30, oh my gosh. The voice that Jim Dale does is so painful.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, I can't finish this chapter. I had to stop. And then went back.
It's one of the most emotional chapters. This is I mean I teared up in a moment in this chapter too that we'll talk about. But it's a painful chapter to get through. Very painful chapter.
Have you listened to Jim Dale's version, right? I'm like, oh my.
Yeah.
Well, obviously that's why you like him. And
it's intense.
And he tells us to listen to only him.
No, some of our subredditors want you guys to listen to the Stephen Fry one too. They want you to do a whole book with Stephen Fry. But once you do Jim Dale, I'm sorry, it's tough to do Stephen Fry. He's the other audiobook reader.
Yeah, but you already played it and I didn't like his voice.
Yes. Maybe we'll try a longer section or a chapter from him.
I feel like you'd have to commit to it for a chunk.
Yeah.
And then it would probably...
But now I know like each character because
exactly.
Jim Dale's voice, I don't even have to hear him say said Hermione. I just know who it is. It's like so cool. I love it.
You really don't notice him reading at all, which is like one of the really cool parts of it. Because he just does the voices so well.
I feel like it's so good.
I know.
And I just don't understand how you stick to the voice for each character. Like you just remember how to keep saying it the same accent and the same way.
Yeah, I feel like that takes major talent.
Yeah.
They do have like a soundboard for him too. Like I learned his process of like if he would forget a character, if it hadn't come up in hundreds of pages, they would just play him a quick sound sample of it and he would just go back and
well, that's like a
character.
I mean, if that's your career.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you're good at it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they chose him for such an important book, knowing it'd get millions of listens a year.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's so good. I do have to say, it was really hard to borrow the audiobook during the summer. I was like, oh my gosh, wait, I have to wait list for, and now it's like, I guess,
easier?
Yeah, because it's summer reading probably, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I was thinking, because I do the library card thing.
Gotcha.
I'm sure the further they get into it too, they're a little easier to get, because maybe some people peter off with their
3 and
readings
4 was hard during the summer. Well, I mean, I don't remember when we started.
You were serving 5 already? Because we're almost done with this
that's
book.
a good point. Reserve it now.
No, I don't think we'll have an issue. But yeah. Crowd. What was the other characters?
Yeah,
Are
what
we
about
done?
like Bagman? What about even the champions? What do you think Bagman would be his animagus form?
Like a parrot or something.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I can
Kind
see
of
it.
like a cute little parrot.
Hmm.
And Bagman has an interesting role in this chapter too. We'll talk about in these chapters. What do you think all the champions would be? What is Cedric? What's his animal form?
Something proper too.
Hmm.
I feel like a stallion.
Wow.
That's a good one. Jen's coming up with all the good ones.
Yeah, you got
Sorry,
a natural
I'm just
instinct.
No, you're
Going.
good.
Yeah.
My brain
Keep
is absolutely
going.
blank.
What about Floor?
I like animals. Remember trivia? I'm like, that's the only question
Yeah,
I
you're the
think I
animal
can
girl.
get, but I don't even get them right.
What would Floor be?
Floor, a peacock. But I know the peacock's males are the pretty ones, but she would be that.
She transfigure into a male peacock.
Yeah.
And Victor?
No, what's the anteater?
You're gonna say a slug.
A sloth. I was gonna say a sloth, but I'm like, no, like an anteater maybe.
A sloth. That is literally
is
the
so
opposite
weird.
animal that I would pick.
No, I said anteater.
Yeah, but that's still literally the opposite. I would
Why?
pick a falcon because he's fast, the fastest person on a broom. But I guess he's clumsy on land. So I guess
he
that
has
would
a
work. He's
big
kind
nose. Anteaters.
He's
have
kind of
huge-
gothic too, and anteaters are big gothic animals.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right because the flying thing.
What about like what would Rita Skeeter be?
Maybe she would be the parrot.
Yeah, she's annoying. She squawks a lot. She can talk.
Or
yeah,
a cockatoo. Cockatoo?
Specifically, yeah.
Oh, is that a specific parrot?
Oh, I guess it's just like a type of bird, yeah.
Oh, okay. The bird master.
No, because I was thinking Bagman. I thought of cockatoo when you said parrot, and then I was like, oh, Rita could be, yeah, sure. Or are there purple or pink birds or magenta? That's her thing, right?
Like a
Are you?
or green because she has her
Or green quill.
her ink green quill or whatever it's called. What do you?
What's going through your head right now? Jen?
I don't want to say it.
right now?
What?
Your Moody theory?
No.
What would Moody be as an animal?
Wait, no, I feel like
I'm
she's
answering a question.
He'd be a rhino.
It's okay. I'll drop it.
No. This is just because he said he was a bat. So
That's okay.
this is why I'm asking this question. I'll spoil it because it's in these chapters. Because what kind of magic do you think comes out of Dumbledore's wand? What do you think that is?
Earwax.
We don't know. But when he sends this message to Hagrid's hut, what is that? We've come
I
across it
missed
once.
that. I don't know how. Like, if you can tell me what page it's
So
on.
I don't know what page it's on, but it is in this chapter. He raised his wand into the air, the end of this chapter, and pointed it in the direction of Hagrid's cabin. Harry saw something silvery dart out of it and streak away through the trees like a ghostly bird.
Oh, it's like the memory thing, right? No, it's not. It wouldn't be that though.
What
The
memory
pensive.
thing?
The
Pensieve, kind of, maybe close. She doesn't explicitly say what this is in this moment, and you don't really get a grasp on what this is till later in
is it
later
similar
books.
to Rita Skeeter's like saliva on her quill?
Mm-mm.
No, it's.
But this
nothing
is
like
like, it's like the opposite of a summoning charm, but combined with like communication, like part of your essence. It's weird. There must be a name for it if it's going to come back up. But it is very unique. First time
Does
we've
it
seen
come
anything
back
like this.
and go back in?
Well, not that it was mentioned. It was like a one-way thing.
I
So-
must have missed this.
And
when
this
I
is
was
the
trying-
reason that I'm asking this question, because he's sending in this animal form out.
Like a Patronus with a message.
Yeah, like a Patronus with a message. And spoiler alert, that's exactly what it is. She doesn't explicitly say that here, but she'll explain that a little bit later on.
That's cool.
Then
Then
you can
Harry can
send-
do it.
Yeah, Harry, you can send
I
messages.
actually thought
with
he
your
was sending a
Patronuses.
Patronus
Yeah,
at first, but then I got confused.
it's deeply advanced magic.
Oh wait,
to be
and
able to
he
send
has
messages in.
it's a bird of some form.
What kind of bird do you think it is?
An eagle, a hawk. You said a white bird, right?
Yeah, but it's a ghostly bird,
Thunderbird.
but it's silvery because it looks
Because it
ghostly.
is a Patronus, though.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's
it
not
still
going to
could
take
be
color.
any color, yeah.
Could be a peacock.
They're
Could be a
pretty.
phoenix.
It could be a phoenix. So this is like he's taking some kind of animal form here. So the reason I'm asking this question is, what do you think their other animal forms would be? Like, what do you think their Patronuses are?
Okay. This is so bad.
You're
I
gonna be
gotta
thinking into
I
every
know,
question.
because everything I analyze now. We're book. How many podcast
like, what is he
things
trying to
are we
sneak into
into? Well, I'm just thinking of Hermione's questions throughout these chapters too. What were you asking? When I had it turned away.
What their animal form is, but we'll move on. I'll ask that maybe some other times in this.
No, this is fun because I can picture them. Like I'm thinking Crumb is
Moody's.
Anteater with like the side hair, like a cartoon. Like,
What the?
I know it's weird.
Side hair.
Yeah, like the little comb
a whole
over, like in
visual.
the front,
Wow.
like emo.
Emo Crumb. Yeah.
He showed us a picture of a.
Emo
Yeah, he
Anteater
did look
Crumb.
very-
Yeah,
emo.
yeah.
He could be kind of bat-like.
Yeah.
We have a comment here. I'm also like Jen. I love Jim Dale, and I say that I've read through all the books, even though I really listened to all the
Yes,
books. Does
thank
that
you.
count too?
It
of
does.
course, it counts. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I think even like cognitively, apparently there is no difference between reading words on a page and hearing words. Your brain doesn't decipher the difference.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it is the same.
my ideal thing would be to have him read it to me. Like I could have the book in front of me and follow along, but I don't have the time.
Yeah, it does take a lot of time.
And
so you just have to listen to it in the car or something like
that. On walks in the car. Sorry, guys.
Do you like listen to it on your commute to work?
Yeah, and that's why some of these details you're like, oh, did you catch that? And I'm like, oh, I must have been driving, like something must have been, I must have been merging on the highway or something and like focused.
Do you find it difficult to like get out of the car and go to work because you're listening to a really good part? Do you, like,
I don't listen to work because I probably would do that. Because on the way home, I can like transfer it and then I'm good. But I don't listen to it at work because that would be hard. It was even, I used to do like when it was warmer, I'd walk and listen to it, and I was like, oh man, this sucks, I have to go back inside because my lunch break was over. And I'm like, but it's such a good part, and I'm like, this terrible.
When my brother was listening to it, he would sometimes like sit in his car before he had to walk into work, and he was like, just 5 more minutes, I just want to listen to 5 more minutes. I
know.
Of this. And you guys are right, because you mentioned a while ago it's hard to end at chapter points, so I don't think he really ended at chapters, because he ended it right in the middle, because he's like, you end a chapter and you have to start the next one. Even right now we're talking about like, when are we going to do this recording of the podcast? We might have to push it off till next week. You're like, no, let's do it tonight because I want to keep reading. This is so addicting, it's so good.
Canceling stuff.
I know.
Not really.
But anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
Jenn,
Danny,
and Kristen.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Just go give us a rating and review. Just hold up right here, scroll back into Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, and give us a review. Give us a rating. That would be awesome. Go follow us too on our subreddit r/First Time Readers, where we're talking about all things Harry Potter and these podcasts. You can actually help this podcast become better and more funny and ask questions and all that kind of stuff. You can join our live streams as well. We live stream every podcast, so they're kind of advanced copies. Just go check out our YouTube channel at First Time Readers. And then if you want to support us on Patreon, you can support us on Patreon at First Time Readers. I think that's about it, but these chapters are winding down, and it's just getting really exciting because I say it pretty much every single chapter, but the next chapters just get better and better and better, and it's so true of this book. Every single chapter I feel like gets better than the one before, and it's really exciting to see the first-time readers of Danny and Jenn going through these books for the first time and vicariously living through them. So join me on my experience of vicariously living through them and enjoy these chapters of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, chapters 28 to 30. All right, we are in chapter 28, The Madness of Mr. Crouch. What is a summary of this chapter?
Do you have something, Kristen?
I do.
Nice.
Chapter 28, right?
Yep.
Winky is now a drunk. Hermione is getting hate mail due to Rita Skeeter's article. And the third task is finding their way through a maze. Crouch returns, but is a bit insane. Is that everything?
And the crumb getting knocked out thingy. I don't know if that was in there. Did you say that?
What do you mean?
No, I didn't put anything about him. He got knocked out.
Yeah, because this is after they found
right.
Crouch, and then Crumb was waiting. Harry goes up to the castle, he gets knocked out, and then Karkaroff is all getting crazy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking Dumbledore's cheating, blah, blah, blah.
So the first thing that happens in this chapter is they go to the kitchens and they find Winky all a mess. She's drunk on butterbeer. Super sad moments of her just really wanting to be back with her master, Mr. Crouch. She says this line: Master is trusting Winky with the most important, the most secret. What is the most secret? What is she talking about here? Again, is this just like house elves keeping their master's secrets, or is she talking about something specifically, some secret?
Oh, this is specific. The most secret. This is above and beyond. But what is it?
What is it? We learn,
I don't know.
Especially in these chapters, we learn a lot about Crouch's backstory. Do you think there is some kind of secret behind his backstory?
Yeah, there sure is.
What is it though, Danny?
I don't know, but I'm starting to think Winky was never fired at all. And that this is all part of Winky's job to go to Hogwarts with Dobby so that she can be close to Crouch, who is also at Hogwarts, possibly in the form of Moody, but definitely at Hogwarts as we saw him in the forest and Snape's office. I don't know if she's really fired. She was wailing pretty good, though.
Mine's along the lines of yours. My thoughts. But when you're done.
The most secret, I don't think is a reference to that. I think it's something earlier, but I don't know what it is yet. I'm starting to think that Crouch is the one who did all the bad stuff that his son took the fall for. So during the trials, I feel like he was being so harsh because he was able to put other people away for something he did. But I don't know exactly what.
Wait. Say that again?
So like in chapter 30, they were going through the trials when Harry's kind of watching it all. And we saw 3, maybe it was 4 different trials. And I forget what it was that his son had done, but his son seemed genuine. Like his son, when I was reading that part, I thought, I really don't think his son did this. And because Crouch was being so harsh, like if anything, I feel like parents know when their kids are lying. They've watched them do it for their whole lives. Even though Crouch might have been a distant father, I feel like he knew his son didn't do it. And that makes him a very terrible person if I actually believe that theory. But I was thinking he was putting his son and those other 3 away for something that he was involved with directly.
Ooh, wow.
So
he was burying his evidence?
Burying his evidence, yeah.
Or burying the gun or whatever it was. Whatever that phrase is.
Yeah, and maybe I'll come across some of those things that I wrote in the margins when we get to 30. But that would be a pretty good winky little secret.
That would be a very good secret.
That is a good... But I'm going along with the theory we had last time.
That,
And my theory is like he has to cope with losing his wife and son, and it's his fault. So whatever spell or magic or potion he has to take to like remain sane is what she's keeping as a secret, and that's what she helps him with. Like helps him stay sane with either making the potion for him, and he carries it around. Like if we're gonna go that route, the Polyjuice potion, like she maybe helps make it, and so she's not just doing chores in the house, she's also like making these things to keep Crouch able to, like, I wonder if he needs to escape his own identity and turn into someone else just to mentally cope with what he did with his son.
So he's actually insane, and there was some kind of insane potion that kept him sane, and then because Winky's not in the picture anymore, he is actually going insane, which is what we're seeing now.
Well, I'm one like something along those lines. I was thinking more, like whatever, like he is insane, or he is so crazy because everything hit him of what he did with like his son and all that stuff, and putting people away so easily that he kind of went crazy, maybe. Or I like your thing too, like maybe someone, or maybe they put some kind of hex on him. I don't know, Voldemort.
I don't know what a hex really is. It did come up in this, and I was like, that sounds bad.
Or is it the other, what is the other thing called? The one where you control them?
It's the Imperious Curse.
Nice, Danny. That was quick. I like that.
It's funny because I almost texted the group chat, and I was going to be like, can you list the illegal ones again so I know which one's which? Because I always
You're going to be careful of saying those out loud, too.
Ooh, nice.
No, I'm just kidding. You don't. Because we can all say it and we won't get a nosebleed, just like they said before.
Imperious Curse. And then there's the Cruciatus.
Yeah, Cruciatus Curse.
Which is when you're hurting someone. Which is what? Longbottom.
That part made me tear up. That part makes me tear up every single time that I get to it. I'm going to read some of that section and I'm going to lose it because it's so sad. It is so sad.
And that they're still alive. I think I'd rather them be dead.
Yeah.
And Neville goes to visit them on holidays.
Ugh.
You like, this is where I feel like you get the actual backstory of Neville. This is why he was terrified before. Why he knew what the Cruciatus Curse was. Why he was so like we were talking about his backstory. We were trying to figure it out, and you got the moment here where you get his backstory. This is why Neville is the way he is, and it's the most tragic thing. It is so sad to me. But he's a true Gryffindor because he's brave and he fights through this. Interesting theories, though. We will touch on this because I have a few more random questions before we get to some of the actual things that Crouch is saying here. But we get to these little creatures called Nifflers. What do you think of these Nifflers?
I love them.
They're great.
Cute, right?
Yeah, they sound adorable.
I can't picture them
fun.
though.
He doesn't have them in the illustrated versions, but they have them there's another illustration of them, and they kind of look like platypuses.
I was
just
literally
gonna
gonna
say
say that.
Why did we all think of platypuses?
But then I'm thinking like an anteater nose kind of thing and a platypus mix, and I'm looking at his platypus toy
over there. And I love how they just make the dirt look like it's water. They just dive in and out of the dirt, and it's just like
that's so cool.
So cool.
And I just love that Hagrid had like a good solid lesson. Like as soon as it was starting to form, I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is what he needed to do.
Yeah.
And mixing it up, not doing the same thing every single lesson for a long, long time. These ugly critters. This is cool.
I think Hagrid is a great teacher for these kind of specific lessons. I love actually that he teaches monsters because other teachers wouldn't teach monsters. And even Fudge noted he has a monster obsession.
Yes.
In the very end of this chapter. And I think it's good that you have a teacher who has some kind of monster obsession because he could teach the students things about Blast and Scroots that, Grubbly Plank wouldn't want to touch. Or things about like, dragons or things like that you don't like.
Yep.
So he's introducing these students to new things, but he's got to implement the safe and nice creatures too, not just the dangerous monster creatures.
He's getting it now.
Yeah, exactly.
I also love that we confirmed Leprechaun Gold disappears.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, there's no way it's real.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that is a thing.
Yeah.
And Ron calls Harry out on it.
And then Harry goes, he said the memory coming back to him at last. I don't know. I never noticed it had gone. I was more worried about my wand, wasn't I?
I feel like he was covering.
Yeah, I know. Well, he goes, they climbed the steps into the entrance hall and went to the Great Hall. Must be nice. Ron said abruptly. When they had sat down and started to serve themselves roast beef and Yorkshire puddings. To have so much money, you don't even notice if a pocket full of galleons goes missing.
I knew you were going to bring up that line because it was so funny. I'm like, it must be nice.
Poor Ron, though. I feel so bad for him.
I also like the Ron-Hermione dynamic in this chapter. Even when it started, when Hermione's like, you just had breakfast. And they're like bickering all the time.
Yeah.
But I just think it's great. It's such a comfortable, like loving way to go through life. It's cool.
This is a good lesson right here. It would be fun to have a Niffler, but Hagrid says it wouldn't be good to have a Niffler. It would destroy your house. But there's another line where they go to another class. They go to Moody's class. And Jen, I have all sorts of questions about this because of your theory. But it goes, Hermione hung back in their next defense against the dark arts lesson to ask Professor Moody something. The rest of the class was very eager to leave. Moody had given them such a rigorous test of hex deflection that many of them were nursing small injuries. Is this Moody? Or is this Barty Crouch? And why would Barty Crouch be hexing them? And where would the real Moody be?
That's a great question.
I'm just trying to poke holes in your theory a little bit.
No, I know.
Let's see if it actually floats.
I feel like when he's teaching, though, it's the real Moody. And then when he's outside the classroom, it's not.
I thought the hexes were even worse because I thought it was him, meaning Crouch, in the form of Moody, putting little, like, I don't know what, onto all the students so that they would be his little spies as they go around the school.
Well, that's kind of a good idea.
Like things that would work towards a bigger bad plan.
The only thing is, then where is the real Moody? Like, when was the swap? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
I couldn't think of anything that actually made sense for that.
But like,
that's why I'm not fully convinced. But yeah.
But could it just be that he's so good at like playing two people? Crouch and Moody?
Could be.
I don't know. Because then we fast forward to chapter 30 and he doesn't have the magic eye. So Moody.
Oh, like in the flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the memory thing.
to the court case, and then but he has like the scars on his face. Obviously something else happened. Or is that when something happened and then Crouch is like, yeah, I'm gonna have this double life. I don't know. It does seem kind of crazy, but
Well, only because we've seen Crouch and Moody together. There would need to be a double polyjuice potion for it to be a true double life. Unless they're both in on it, they swap every once in a while.
it just seems so weird because he appears so quickly.
Yeah.
When Crouch is
Yep,
crazy
by the
at the end of
forest.
this
Yep.
chapter,
Mhm. He is
then
there.
he's like, I'm here, and I'm like, wait. So my theory might, or whatever.
And then he still had to summon
theory
the
we
map to him,
discussed.
supposedly.
And then why didn't he look at it right there with everyone?
Right. But then
So
Ron
then
said it
those
only covers
things-
to the end of the grounds.
Wait,
But like,
where's the grounds? Like, weren't they on the grounds?
I guess, but in my mind, the Forbidden Forest is the edge.
But how far in did they go?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
that's
know.
where I'm like, I feel like you still would have looked at the map.
And if he was
Some
up in
of
the
the
castle,
map-
wouldn't he have brought it with him?
But also, why wouldn't he have summoned the map in front of everyone and be like, okay, guys, like, let's look at this together, see if anyone, like, I don't know.
Yeah. He might be trying to keep it a secret. Because Dumbledore's never seen this.
He knows about it.
Of course he does, but like, as far as other people know, he doesn't know. Does that make sense?
But no one else was there. Crumb is like passed out. And
Karkaroff, though.
yeah, but before he came, because he like had Hagrid go get him. They could have just
True.
looked.
Could
He just
Dumbledore
appeared
have
too
summoned
quickly. I don't
Hagrid?
know.
Just comes flying through the air.
There's a big Hagrid-sized hole in
Can
the...
you summon people? I don't
His
think you
house.
can.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Doesn't seem like it.
After I was reading the end of 30, for a second, I thought that Crouch was Neville's dad, like the polyjuice craziness, because he was talking about wife and son and whatever. And I was like, could they have done some weird swap like that? But now that was just a silly theory.
Oh. But then that's what I thought. Maybe he was the Cruciatus, whatever, curse. I'm like, from the time that he was at the World Cup, what the heck is it called?
It is World Cup.
Because it's coming.
It is the World Cup. We are the U.S.
I was
won
going to say, I
today.
saw the U.S.
Oh, I was so happy about that. Round of 16, we'll probably lose, but go USA.
Woo.
But when they were at the Quidditch World Cup,
Yeah, he was there, but he didn't say much. Crouch is the one that speaks all the languages, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just like thinking as I'm talking.
that's fine. It's the best kind of talking.
Because Fudge was the one walking around the other guy at the Quidditch Cup. They were looking for Crouch to be the interpreter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't really find him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's always been crazy because I haven't seen like a sane. He's been present,
He's been present.
but he doesn't talk much.
Why did he have Winky save his seat? I'm thinking he planned on going up to the box and then didn't because somebody used the Imperious curse on him. And that's why he's going crazy, because it's not just the Cruciatus curse that makes people go crazy. It's any of the curses would make someone go crazy. Well, one of them kills you.
Yeah.
But just like Neville's parents went crazy because it was so much torture. It wasn't the pain or the torture. It was the curse itself, because your mind can't like take that. So maybe that's why like someone was controlling him at the World Cup, so he never made it to the box. And maybe he's the one who did the dark mark. Maybe he doesn't even remember he did it. If someone
then
controls you,
that's
do you remember?
Well,
And that's why
You
he's
have to
going
ask
crazy
Ginny that
now.
question.
but then could that have been also the court case? Is what I was thinking too.
Someone controlling him back then?
Yeah, like just summoning his son.
Yeah.
To ask a man without.
Moody was right there both times.
What are you trying to say?
What if Moody was the one controlling him? We know he can do the curse. What if Moody is the devoted servant? doing things for Voldemort this whole time, but as Crouch.
That pokes holes in a lot of things about Dumbledore's trust then, wouldn't that? Because Sirius trusts him.
Maybe.
Dumbledore
Sirius,
trusts him.
yeah.
Dumbledore
Sirius,
brought him in specifically for this.
But Dumbledore can't be duped by a polyjuice potion.
Yeah, that's a great question because that maybe that's the baseline of this idea in the chapter. Can Dumbledore be duped by certain things? Not only just like polyjuice potion or things like that, but just like, is he wrong about Snape? Is he wrong about Moody? Is he wrong about Sirius? Is he wrong about any of these people? Like, can Dumbledore be wrong?
I feel like the only reasons we've thought yes was it was Quirrell and Lockhart. Quirrell was kind of a big deal, but it still somehow felt like it was in control. Like Dumbledore kind of was aware of what was going on and was letting it happen to a certain degree.
That seems crazy.
But yeah, a little crazy. Maybe not fully. And that was when he turned around going to London. Like he probably didn't want it to go that far. I feel like we do trust him. But he also, we saw more in these chapters than ever before that he doesn't know everything. He doesn't know what's going on. He is trying to piece it together while he's looking in his magical basin thing. He can definitely make mistakes. He's human.
Yeah, that's why he has this. It's called the Pensieve or the
Pensieve. Yeah.
French Pensieve. Because he has all these memories and he like revisits them. So there's those moments when he's like, I like you, probably my thoughts are swimming, and Harry's like, oh, no, not really. But his head's swimming with all these theories. But in that too, Jen, because you're talking about the madness of Crouch in this chapter, it's called the madness of Mr. Crouch. He doesn't seem so mad in some of those memories. The only time he really seems mad is he's mad with like righteous justice, I guess, toward his son. But to your point, maybe he's covering something up. And the other times he doesn't seem crazy mad.
Yeah.
So what is actually going on with him? Is he like, maybe your theory, he has to take a potion and that potion keeps him at bay, or maybe he has to, I don't know, do X, Y, and Z to keep that at bay.
The thing is that he's talking to Percy, right? What does he call him? Weatherby or something like that? So then I'm like,
you're thinking Percy?
Wait, what?
Like I'm wondering, oh, okay, interesting. No, keep going.
Because you're thinking Weatherby's a real person in the past that he just calls
like,
Percy.
Do we know his son's name? I was thinking Weatherby was another person.
Well, maybe his son's name is Weatherby. Yeah, what is his son's name?
I don't know if they ever said it.
No, you're right. He doesn't, but it's like so in and out of so many different like parts of his life in the past that I'm like, that is insane. Even if you're not like verbally sounding like crazy. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
And I think
he's very clear with what he's saying, but it's just the wrong place and the wrong people or people that don't even exist. Sorry. Okay.
No, you're right. Why did he go crazy? And is it temporary?
How would you not go crazy if you put your son to death, basically?
Yeah.
Whether it was by choice or by someone forcing you to do it, I think you would go crazy. And then your wife dies.
Maybe he found out that his son was innocent somehow, and that drove him crazy. Because for however long, what is this, 20 years or however long it's been, that didn't drive him crazy, but he's going crazy now. So like something happened now that made him snap.
Yeah, but I thought they said that he lost his Ministry of Magic like title because after his wife and his son
he didn't
passed,
become the
people were like scared
of magic.
And then I feel like it could have been a slow decline burn. Yeah,
he just seemed so put together at the World Cup, like the way Harry described him, it seemed like he was still like
Winky.
Keeping him in shape, combing his hair. Could Winky be the evil one?
I don't think she's evil. I think she's just trying to cover for her master, which is what she's saying.
I mean, a lot of this book is about the House Elf Liberation Front, which is a better name than Spew. But a lot of it is about House Elves, so it could be centered around different forms of magic that come and get introduced into this book. Interesting theories you guys got here. I have so many
How
more
close
questions.
are we? Hot or cold? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think some of what you're saying is fascinating. I'll have more questions as we go on for this kind of stuff because I want to get to some other stuff. But Crouch does mention a few things when he's crazy, when he comes back, and what are those things that he regrets? So he has a lot of regrets. Like this, there's this line. Suddenly a man staggered out from behind a tall oak. For a moment, Harry didn't recognize him. Then he realized it was Mr. Crouch. Mr. Crouch is out here being crazy, but it says Crouch's eyes were rolling in his head. Harry looked around at Crumb, who had followed him into the trees and was looking down at Crouch in alarm. What is wrong with him? No idea, Harry muttered. Listen, you better go and get someone. Dumbledore, gasped Mr. Crouch. He reached out and seized a handful of Harry's ropes, dragging him closer through, though his eyes were staring over Harry's head. I need see Dumbledore. Okay, said Harry. If you get up, Mr. Crouch, we can go to the... I've done stupid thing, Mr. Crouch breathed. He looked utterly mad. His eyes were rolling and bulging, and a trickle of spittle was sliding down his chin. Every word he spoke seemed to cost him a terrible effort. Must tell Dumbledore. Get up, Mr. Crouch, said Harry loudly and clearly. Get up and I'll take you to Dumbledore. Mr. Crouch's eyes rolled forward and onto Harry's. Who, you? He whispered. I'm a student at the school, said Harry, looking around at Crumb for some help. But Crumb was hanging back, looking extremely nervous. You're not his, whispered Crouch, his mouth sagging. No, said Harry, without the faintest idea of what Crouch was talking about. Dumbledore's? That's right, said Harry. Crouch is pulling him closer. Harry tried to loosen Crouch's grip on his robes, but it was too powerful. Warn Dumbledore. I'll get Dumbledore if you let go of me, said Harry. Just let go, Mr. Crouch, and I'll get him. Thank you, Weatherby. And when you have done that, I would just like a cup of tea. My wife and son will be arriving shortly. We're attending a concert tonight with Mr. and Mrs. Fudge. Crouch is now talking fluently to a tree again. What is some of this stuff that he's saying? He said he has to tell Dumbledore something. What is the thing that he has to tell Dumbledore? He seems like he's regretting something seriously, and he talks about that later in the chapter. He said, it's all my fault. What is all his fault? Is Crouch the most devoted servant to Lord Voldemort?
No, I don't think so. It feels like...
Is the person
I feel
controlling
like
him the most devoted servant to Voldemort?
Potentially. What do you think?
You go first.
Well, maybe I'm just a softie for it, but like hearing him say this stuff, I feel like he regrets the things he's done. And so maybe I'm thinking the most devoted servant wouldn't regret things. So he feels like he's sorry for things. He's trying to confess something to Dumbledore, part of it. And then there's another part of it that almost feels like more than confessing his own things, but like tell him about something bigger, maybe with Voldemort. So I feel bad for him in this moment. Like he's trying to escape, like he needs protecting almost. And that's why he wants Dumbledore. I don't know what he means. And Harry doesn't either. Doesn't have the faintest idea. You're not his ? Like, what does that mean? His, who's his? Dumbledore's? Voldemort's? Some other person? No idea.
I feel like he's getting confused by good and evil. Like, I think he was, because he was finding all these Death Eaters and or he thought they were Death Eaters. So I think he was getting confused as to, like, who do you work for in this insane moment? And then for me, I thought he still, to me, could potentially be, maybe not as likely, the most faithful servant. And that now he was the most faithful and did all these things, put his son into Azkaban. I don't know, whatever else we were discussing, but then that wouldn't make sense either because he's putting in people that are Death Eaters. Maybe he's covering up them. Maybe he's putting the wrong people in. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like your guys' theory is a leading theory of maybe he's trying to cover something up. So he just in one fell swoop the 4 people that were at the scene of the crime, he doesn't matter. He's just trying to cover something up that he was involved in, so he's even willing to axe his son. I think there's actually a lot of importance into why Percy is so attracted to this person. Percy loves Mr. Crouch more than any other person on the earth, apparently. Percy loves him so much. And Percy seems like, we talked about, the one Weasley that would abandon his family for power and for fame and for a position of authority. I think that there's a reason that Percy loves Crouch so much, because Crouch might have done that. And Crouch kind of did do that. Crouch is willing.
Definitely did.
Yeah, Crouch is willing to sacrifice his family for what seems to be his career. It backfired on him.
Well, that's his life, apparently. But is that... But I feel like that's why you go crazy. Like, the things you care about.
But like actually crazy like this?
Jen mentioned something too about Bertha Jorkins. So Crouch talks about how Bertha Jorkins is all his fault too. How is Bertha Jorkins all his fault?
I feel
Well.
Oh.
What?
I thought you were going to say something.
Nope.
I just don't know if either he was with Bertha when she got killed and like some curse came over him and he came back, or he's a Death Eater and he knows and he told them where Bertha was. But then that wouldn't make sense either, because he knew about the Triwizard Tournament. He could have just told them.
Yeah.
Maybe he just feels guilty because he told her the piece of information that ended up making her valuable.
On purpose?
I was thinking not on purpose. Like, if we think Crouch is evil, we have to just say, like, when he was evil. And I'm thinking...
After his son.
Now he's a little bit bad, but a little bit good. And I think it's sort of a recent development.
A little bit bad and a little bit good. What
I think he
mean?
did some bad things, but he's still got a decent heart. Maybe I won't go that far.
He literally is just...
He wants to confess things to Dumbledore and warn
like.
Dumbledore. I don't think he would warn Dumbledore if he was evil.
No, I think it's gotten out of hand. It's gone too far. And he's like, now I need to tell Dumbledore because it's beyond my control.
Agreed.
But I don't even think he cares about people. I think he just cares about like his reputation. Like, oh, you're bad, you go into jail. You're good, you stay here. I don't even think he cares about... Like, he didn't even have cases, like court cases for like Sirius Black and stuff. Or like... That
is weird. I don't understand that because that's not...
But then what is the court case? We just saw like 3 of them and that wasn't even a real...
That's court. Like, you just like vote on everything while the person's right there.
And chained to a chair with the Dementor standing right... Like, I just...
Yeah. We'll get to this when we get to the Pensieve chapter 2, because there's a lot of interesting stuff about that. But let's go to the dream chapter, because it does play into this a little bit. What is a summary of the dream? Chapter 29.
Wasn't... Oh, no. Kristen, you're the summary girl.
Oh, I vote one of you.
What?
We'll take turns.
Yeah. One sec, I'm just flipping through the chapter to see if there's anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Danny, as usual.
Hold on.
Don't let us miss anything.
There was one more thing that I would know.
Oh, I thought you were like actually saying that.
I mean, I have questions about 20 other things in this chapter, but we'll move on because some of that touches on other stuff.
Okay, cool. The dream.
Wait, or I kind of want to know too, how is Rita able to learn and know these things?
That was a weird thing.
She doesn't have an invisibility cloak.
She transforms into a different animal.
Fly on the wall. Because I really do feel like she's...
There's a spell that transforms
she's got
into
something.
A fly.
Yeah, she could be an animagus. Probably not. But, well...
I don't... Do you think that she actually possesses...
Yeah.
Do you think that she actually possesses the capabilities to be an animagus?
She's too annoying.
I can't tell if she's smart or dumb yet, to be honest. Like, I really can't. At the moment, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the dumb side of things, where I'm like, she gets information, she's gossipy, but she's not that smart. She's just right in her lane, and doesn't mind running people over in the process.
Hmm.
But how? How does she find all this stuff out? Doesn't make any sense.
I feel like who said that she's bugged, but not like muggle bugged, like
Yeah, because she can't be, because Hermione
magical.
makes it adamant that you can't bring those
How
kind
do
of
you guys
materials.
not know? You can't operate and you can't have
Nothing
any.
electronic.
What is
Yeah.
the magical version of bugging then?
You tell me, John. You know all the spells.
Yeah, like, is there like magical things that record what you say? Well, yeah, absolutely, actually. Because a howler does that.
Yeah.
So you could leave a howler on record mode whenever you're trying to overhear things, and then have it, you summon it back and then let it howl at you, whatever it heard. So we know that the spells can do what she would need them to do. She could leave, that's even crazier, because she could leave any object around, and if it had the right spell on it, it would record what people are saying.
Exactly.
Record's a weird word, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But is she doing that?
She's shifty.
And if JK was letting her do that, making her do that, doing that, I feel like she would drop hints for us so that we would
What?
see.
No.
You don't think so? I
No,
feel like there'd be
not
something in there like,
JK.
oh, she heard about this through, like Hagrid when he was talking
She
about
is
giant
dropping
stuff.
it by Hermione being like, I don't know how she does it.
Well, yes, right. But in the moments where she's hearing it, do we see something? When Ron and Harry were in the bush, was
She
there
could
something
have
else
been
going
the
on there?
bush.
She could have been the bush.
She could have
She
bugged the
transforms
She
into a bush. Wait, what'd you say?
She's really good at herbology.
Can you
She's
turn
so
into
good.
a plant?
She turns into the plant, becomes the plant.
You said that was
Become
the
one with
only
the plant.
thing that was around.
I mean, hey, we know it was there. There was a bench. She's the bench.
She could be anything.
As soon as Hagrid sits down.
No, did Hermione? Yeah.
She missed a couple of those quotes.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
man.
transforms into like a tree next to Hermione and Victor Crumb talking
I
about
mean,
their
if she's
Yeah.
good with this herbology thing, that's not bad.
No one would expect that.
It's so funny. Anyway, let's talk about the chapter, the dream, chapter 29. Give me a quick summary of that chapter.
All right. Harry has a dream. I'm like, what happened here? This is a short one.
Doesn't the trio hear Fred and George
Oh
discussing
yeah, because
something on the way to
they're
the
sending
owlery?
an owl.
Yep.
And
And then
Harry has a vision during divination
Yeah.
class. That's
and then he
That's what
moseys on
happened.
over to Dumbledore's office. And he guesses the password. Which is impressive.
Oh, that's right.
Hermione lets them know all the time, though, they can't disapparate into the Hogwarts grounds.
Oops, I said that wrong.
Hasn't she told you enough times? What?
Nothing. I said apparate.
Well, apparate and disapparate.
Oh, it is the right
Yeah,
thing.
it's the same thing. Two sides of the same coin. Apparating, you're
It's like appearing.
you're appearing,
and then disappearing.
disapparating,
Oh, okay.
you're
All right,
disappearing.
I feel better. Never mind.
Yeah.
Just
No,
continue.
you're good, Jen. Come on.
But
But,
it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
But again, the real question through all this, who attacked Crouch? Or no, who attacked Crumb?
I thought it was Crouch or whoever was controlling Crouch. Just like
But who is controlling it?
at this point, I'm leaning Bagman or Winky.
Wow.
Yeah. They're the most suspicious and least accounted for. So, yeah.
But Bagman literally said to Harry, do you want me to wait for you? When he
When?
was going, they went to check out the maze and Crumb asked him to leave. I need to talk to you. And then Bagman goes, oh, do you want me to wait for you, Harry? He's like, no, I'll find my way back to the castle.
Yeah, he was being super sarcastic there too, which is funny. He's like, I think I can find the castle.
I know, yeah. That was funny.
Again, we know that Bagman was right there. He was in the area. I can't explain it. And that's the thing, like, we don't know how it would be done. But it could have been.
Well, the reason, I guess, which your theory is interesting, too, because what's her name? Rita Skeeter was like, the things I know about Bagman, I don't know.
Curl
She said
your hair or something.
Yeah, to Harry, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what if this whole time Crouch really is good? And he's just being controlled? No, but that's weird, too. Like, what if Bagman is bad, and he's been bad forever since he was on trial? Because that trial was a bit of a sham. Anyway.
Yeah, she has been good at that kind of stuff, flipping good characters to be bad characters and bad characters to be good characters. In this book particularly, it seems like that Bagman, who he seems to be portrayed as a great character. His trial is like, oh, everyone is like, he's a celebrity. Maybe he truly is evil. And then Crouch, who you kind of are starting to loathe. You hate this guy. He seems so... He has no emotions. Maybe he's really good.
He did some bad things. Bertha Jorkins, his son, and he feels bad because that's what he said about it. But I'm still like, whoever knocked out Crumb, it couldn't have been Crouch and his crazy. Well, it actually could have been. It could have been as simple as that. Crouch is a little crazy, and then all of a sudden is like,
I feel like it was someone else in the woods.
That's what I keep thinking. Yeah.
And they were just waiting, like, Crouch is getting away from them, and that's when he was like, get Dumbledore. And then Harry and Crumb come, and they hold back from, like, pulling Crouch back. And then when Harry leaves, it's an opportunity, because something with Harry, like, they don't want to be seen. And Crumb is not as smart as Harry, so...
Yeah, why doesn't Crumb remember anything?
Maybe it's Crumb. Would it be
he's
Crumb?
just pretending to be knocked out. Done.
I mean, that's what someone said that, right?
Yeah. That works. But then, if Crumb is evil like that, why didn't he just do something to Harry when he had him there alone?
I know, I thought that too. They also said that in the chapter.
And I like when they keep doing that, where Hermione, Ron, and Harry are talking through like our theories, and we're just like listening to them with the back and forth. I'm like, yeah, good points.
Yeah, the beginning of this chapter was like exactly how I imagined the podcast being. We're coming up with theories, and I'm like, who's Ron? The idiot who's just thinking it was Victor Crumb. And then Hermione's like, no,
so
you're stupid.
I laughed at that part because I was like, I would be him with the theories.
So Victor Crumb knocked himself out.
I also don't quite get why Dumbledore said, wait to tell Sirius until the morning. Like, because he told Harry very specifically, like, I wouldn't mention this to anyone. I wouldn't send any owls tonight.
Yeah.
And then in this chapter, it was daybreak. They, creep out of their dormitories and whatever. They go to the owlery. So they waited. They listened to what Dumbledore said. But why is that important? Why didn't Dumbledore want Sirius to know all this stuff the night before?
I feel like...
Is he afraid Sirius was going to come running out?
I think, because I think Dumbledore wants to get a better grip on what's going on. Did I just roll over your tail? I'm sorry.
What the heck that was, Wes?
In my mind, I'm thinking Dumbledore wants to get a better grip on what's going on. So he needs a little more time to stare at his thoughts in the little bowl. And he doesn't want Sirius like risk his life getting caught or something like that. So let me figure out what's going on first. And then you could send the owl to tell him what's going on.
It could be, but he didn't give Ron, Harry, and Hermione any updates between last night and this morning.
Yeah,
so
but he already knew he was going to have an update because he knows ahead.
So he
was sending letters to Sirius to himself.
So he wanted to send it first, maybe before the others did, so that he could send a little update.
And there's a possibility he's just flat out wanting to protect him. The owlery is not like part of the actual castle. Or actually, it might be. It's not in the movies. I forgot actually if it is in the books. So he's like, there's someone who just attacked Victor Crumb. Dumbledore in his head is thinking this person is probably the one that wants to kill Harry, but Harry just wasn't in the right place at the right time. So he's saying, go back up to the castle, go to where you are safe, because Dumbledore isn't at that moment like going to be with him, taking him up to the castle and doing all this stuff. So it's like, you three get up right now. Do not go to the owlry to send a letter, because that's dangerous, because the person could still be lurking out there. So maybe he's just flat out trying to protect them.
Yeah, and
Sending
Crouch might be
him to
going to the owlry
Gryffindor
too.
Tower.
And who else do we know that lurks
serious
all
black got
around
in there.
looking at naked people in the bathroom? It could be Myrtle. Myrtle is the most devoted servant.
We know that Crouch is sending letters to Percy, and we know he's at Hogwarts now. So is Crouch going up to the owlry all the time? And is that why Dumbledore didn't want them up there? They might run into Crouch or someone, Polyjuice, whatever, up in the owlry, and they would not be prepared for whatever goes down up there.
Because why are Fred and George, what are they talking about when they're going to the
I don't
owlry?
know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Who are they blackmailing?
Yeah, who are they
I keep
blackmailing?
going back to Bagman because of the thing with the goblins and the gambling, and it feels like there's an actual little connection between Bagman and Fred and George. They've like talked on a few occasions.
Could that be what they were talking with the goblins about? No.
I mean, that was your theory, Danny, right? It had to do with gambling and money with the goblins. The goblins are all about money. That's kind of how you came to this theory.
Like somebody owes the goblins money. If it was Bagman, it would be gambling. If it was Crouch, it would be some deal that went south, or I don't know.
And then what about the twins wanting to get in on that? Like with the
But
goblins?
what would the blackmail be? What would they know about somebody that they could hold over their heads? Unless it's the fact that Bagman didn't pay them after their huge win in the World Cup. But that's not like betting with a couple of high school kids. Is that blackmail? Is that worthy?
Yeah. It's probably illegal for Fred and George to be betting, I'm sure. So they probably wouldn't have much of a case anyway. But
could it be Rita Skeeter? They found out something that she's doing in the castle. I feel like you could blackmail Rita Skeeter. It would almost be like par for the course, just doing business. She'd be like, well done.
Yeah.
Touche.
Yeah, because Rita Skeeter would blackmail them back for
in
information.
A second. And it feels weird to hear Fred and George talking about blackmail. That's like, in a lot of ways, too far.
And you notice how both of them are slightly different in this. This is one of the first instances that we see disagreement between the two and how they're different. Fred is the one that wants to do this, and George is the one that's reserved and saying it's blackmail, let's not do this. And then eventually George is the one that is annoyed by Ron and just sends the owl. But they're kind of like different people here, which
you're right.
is fun.
I didn't really think about that.
Yeah. Really like that.
George is a little more conservative. Fred's a little more wild. Which we, with the Angelina thing got a hint of.
Oi, Angelina.
Oi.
That's like one of my favorite parts. I love that so much. Any other ideas about who they're blackmailing or any other theories? Anything further into that?
Wait, what did you say? I was reading something. Sorry.
Yeah. Any further theories on them? Who are they blackmailing? What they're blackmailing them with, or what they actually want? What do Fred and George want?
I mean, now it feels like they want to open up a shop when they graduate.
But why are they blackmailing someone to do it?
Ooh, money. That seems so crude. They just want money. They're going to blackmail someone for money.
So Ron was saying, he's like, they're becoming money obsessed.
Maybe they're just blackmailing Percy, and they're writing as Crouch to Percy to get him to do stuff. What?
Like what, though?
I don't know. Percy did say he knows his boss's handwriting, but there must be a quill that can mimic handwriting.
When telling Percy to do what?
I have no idea. Well, they're blackmailing this person. So if it was Percy, they'd be like giving up childhood secrets. We know you did this. We know you did last summer.
We know you sucked your
and if
thumb.
you don't tell,
age 5.
if you don't send us this or get this international thing approved, or I don't know, make it so our owls are more than they scored. Wait, did they take the owls yet? No, I think we would have seen those results. Wait,
they did.
Wasn't that,
they
that was
took
fifth
their
year.
OWLs.
Yeah. OWLs. Maybe they're trying to get their scores
so
bumped.
Yeah. They're blackmailing the SAT people, the OWL people. Bump up our scores. We'll give you discounts at our shop.
What are the highest scores for OWLs?
Well, somebody got a 12 here.
Yeah, that was
his Crouch's son, right?
And so I'm like, wow, he must be really smart the way he bragged about it.
That feels like that's like the the top.
Mm.
In my head, Fred and George got low-ish. 7? I don't know.
We'll learn the grading system, and the grading system is really fun. I really like it. We'll learn that in the next book. Because this is when they're in their OWL year. Their 5th year. 5th year is OWL year.
We learn about the trio's OWL and Hermione.
So I'll save it. There's like there's a funny grading system that they get to.
Flying colors as well.
Flying colors, probably, yeah.
Many colors.
This is a question that they ask in the next chapter, but this is one that I want to talk about now. Is Harry's dream real?
Yes. I think it's real.
Seems very real. Is there any chance that it's not real?
Yes.
All right, next question.
Okay, good. Could be either one.
Easy.
Yeah, I think it's real.
Well,
I just can't tell when it's taking place.
his scar hurts, though. I feel like that's like a major sign that it's real to me.
And now that at the end of 30, Dumbledore is kind of confirming what we all have discussed, and that kind of connects the two. Like, it's not just something in Harry's mind. It's an actual thing happening in the world at that time. Like, Voldemort is either close by or, what did they say, growing in power significantly in that moment
He's
or something?
really, he's got emotion towards, hatred towards someone so strong. I think that's what it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did Wormtail mess up on?
Yeah.
I know.
So that's question number 1. What did he mess up on? And then who was killed?
Right.
Someone that Crouch was going to tell Dumbledore about. Who was killed? Mad-Eye Moody.
He's not going to be in this anymore.
Crouch.
Then Crouch just impersonates him. Interesting.
From
Interesting
now
theory,
on.
Jen.
It's possible.
What if Crouch was supposed to get Mad-Eye Moody, then he just got to play Mad-Eye Moody, and he brought Mad-Eye Moody to Voldemort?
But it was himself?
No, like he brought the real one.
He brought the real one? Wow. It's possible. And then that would like close up that loose end.
Exactly.
And then he could be Moody. But I just can't picture Crouch taking down Moody. Moody's too good.
But how did Moody brag about Crouch? I still don't get that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But with Voldemort and Wormtail's help, maybe they could have gotten Moody.
Oh, yeah. Well,
The three of
Wormtail,
them.
who's he?
Could Voldemort make it over to where Moody is in Hogwarts?
No, little rat can.
That's why Sirius is eating rats. It's like, maybe he'll wander back into my cave.
So true. Okay.
We'll talk about this in the next chapter because this is all carried over into the next chapter.
Yeah.
So, very quick summary on the next chapter. The Pensieve.
Oh, wow.
I know we brushed through that quick.
Oh,
unless you guys had something else in this chapter.
Oh, just a few little things. But one of the things. I
Just
talk about a million things. I'm like, what about this? And the discussion with Moody and money.
I love this.
Just a few
money
little
stuff,
things.
blah, blah, blah. Oh, the note Sirius said to Harry about staying in the castle, because you asked in the last podcast who was more fatherly, Hagrid or Sirius. This was the first time I thought Sirius felt like a father figure. Yep. He was not just being a friend to Harry. He was telling him something he doesn't want to hear. And like, kind of not disciplining him, but like giving him rules and saying, you don't, like, grounding him, stay in the castle. And I kind of like that dynamic. It felt like it was healthy.
Yeah.
Like, he's not trying to win Harry's approval or like say things Harry's going to like. He's just being honest, and he knows Harry isn't going to like this, and he says it anyway.
Yep.
So I like that.
Harry
Father-son
doesn't
stuff.
like it at all.
Yeah, Harry was like,
Which I really like.
annoyed.
Yeah.
Lecturing me.
Yeah, typical like teenage son. Who's he to be doing this to me? You know?
One thing that's really random, but why isn't he signing it like Snuffles?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why did he sign it serious?
He keeps signing things serious. I'm like, you're an idiot.
He told them to refer to him as Snuffles and send him as Snuffles. And he's calling himself Sirius. So if it gets intercepted, he is Dunsky.
I mean, unless Sirius is like Joe Schmo or something
Yeah.
in the Wizarding World.
Yeah, Sirius is a really common name in the Wizarding World.
Is this also where we find out that the house was Voldemort's dad's house? Riddle.
Kind of.
Well, like confirmed.
Yeah.
Or is that-
The
Yeah,
Riddle
you're
House.
right.
This is kind of the Riddle House, yeah.
Confirmed. Yep, Voldemort's father.
Mm-hmm.
Still didn't really clarify
I feel like
the
then
generational
like
thing
your
yet, but yeah.
thing is more true.
What was my
Like
thing?
it was the dad and then his grandparents or something like that.
right,
Like the
right.
father and then the father's parents.
Yeah.
That could have been.
I was a little annoyed that Harry didn't dig deeper when he was having the dream, because it felt like Trelawney wanted to kind of guide him through it. Now, granted, in front of the whole class wasn't the right vibe, but I feel like if I was Harry, I'd be like, yeah, Trelawney, let's do this right now.
I
But
know.
like, send the other kids away. This is serious.
Yeah.
And like, can you imagine Trelawney would have eaten that
Oh
up?
my gosh,
like,
she would have loved that.
Harry would be like,
But she would
somebody's going to
probably
die.
actually
I
be
think
good
somebody has
at it,
died. Send the
maybe.
students away. And then Trelawney would have been like, everyone leave right now. And then Harry could have actually learned something. And what I'm wondering is Trelawney really a kook, or is she onto something? Her
The clairvoyant
spicy
vibrations
drug,
in the
like,
room.
stuff she's got going on.
I know,
Her
that's what I was
perfumes and the
thinking.
fire. I'm like, it seems to do something to Harry. I mean,
He dozed off. I love like the description.
Yeah.
It's exactly how you doze off in class. All of a sudden you like feel the gentle breeze and like the warmth of the classroom, and like you hear like like the buzzing all around you of like little insects. It's all in slow motion, and then you just pass out. Like the wind just hits you in the face and you're like,
Yeah, just like that. I hope you got a close up of that on your
I
video.
know. I should do that on the stream. And you do the
I'm also thinking, I don't trust Beauxbatons that much. They haven't come up on our radar all this time, but they do keep mentioning
like
the
carriage.
Beauxbaton's carriage. So
Yeah, every time
all this
they're
stuff with
passing
Crouch and Crumb on the ground, like somebody from Beauxbatons could easily be jumping out there. I don't know if it would be Fleur at the moment, but Madame Maxime
because
could definitely be jumping out, doing some damage, grabbing Crouch, bringing him inside.
because she's huge.
And also, she could be the Rita Skeeter informant, now that I'm thinking about it, because Hagrid told her about the giant thing. So if she goes back to Rita and is just like, yo, Rita, guess what? Here's what's happening. That's the
She
inside
was the
scoop.
bush right next to that too.
What?
she's picking off little bits of Rita Skeeter. Rita has very good herbology. She turns into a 5-leafed plant.
5:20.
We just had a comment to Liscay. One of their dogs is named Snuffles.
Nice.
Just such a good name for a
On
dog,
purpose?
I guess so,
For
yeah.
Harry Potter?
I'm
That's
surprised you
awesome.
didn't think
Was
of
it on
that.
purpose?
That's a
No, I
great
should have.
name.
I was thinking
Yeah.
of Harry Potter stuff. A lot of people.
Well, he's kind of.
Ooh.
Whoa.
There's a really common dog name that people name their dog.
We'll find out soon.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Look at his face got so serious.
Oh, when I was
know.
watching the new
Serious.
Zac Efron show, there were Tasmanian devils, and they said that one of the names was Crookshanks. And then they showed a little like screen that all these Tasmanian devils they released into the wild. And I paused it and looked at the other names, and I saw Padfoot on there.
No
And I was like, wow,
way.
that's so funny.
That's
I guess
great.
that Animal Rescue has some Harry Potter fans.
That's
That's
pretty
awesome.
funny.
And there could have been other names I don't even know yet, but
Probably.
Anything else in the dream chapter? We talked about the clairvoyant vibrations in her room. You do. I mean, I do understand Harry not wanting to say this in front of the whole
it definitely
class.
made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same thing as him.
Nah, I
Is
think
this when
that's
they're
it.
practicing too? And Hermione's like, you should practice to slow things down.
What, you know what curse
Hex.
that is?
I don't know. It's right here somewhere.
The impediment.
Oh man! If you just gave me another second.
You got to memorize these because they might come in handy.
why don't
later.
you make an
Constant
Excel-
vigilance.
Do you know, oh my gosh, that stupid line is always every day. I hear that.
What?
Constant vigilance. Every
Like in your
day.
head?
You do?
In my head.
Does that work?
In my head. Now I'm crazy. Mr. Crouch.
Their other dogs' names are Dobby, Remus, and I can't say the other one. The other one was the common one that I was talking about.
I can see from
That
here.
is so great.
There's a character that you guys already know this character, Luna. Because you guys saw the little thing.
one of the ornaments.
Yeah, one of the ornaments that you guys gave me.
Luna.
Luna. So
Luna Love.
Luna is just a really common dog name too. I go
That
on
is
my
true.
walks, I see
Yeah.
tons of Lunas.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Was that from
Yeah.
Harry Potter though? Luna's in another movie or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I keep interrupting you guys. Anything else?
Yeah.
No,
'cause
that
it's
was
all
it
about
from
the
this chapter.
dogs. I like that curse though, to like slow
Yeah.
something down. That would be so helpful
my
for
gosh.
Harry, especially him.
Yep.
You go, Hermione.
And this is like smart prep finally. Like this is good. Real practical, just like learn some stuff, figure it out.
Ron taking it
practice.
for the team. Oh no, he learned
No, he seems good now.
the stunning.
And the impediment curse almost seems like it's making things too easy. Like professional athletes talk about this all the time. When they're in the zone, things tend to go in slow motion for them. And I'm sure this is true with like professional like musicians or fill in the blank for anybody that's a pro at something. When you're really in the zone, like everything falls away and you're like doing things in slow motion. I've only been in the zone in basketball in one game of my life, and I remember the rim was like this big. It was massive. And I remember making moves on guys, and I was like, I am moving so fast right now. I was like, these guys are so slow.
They don't stand it.
Yeah.
Well,
Only
those
been in
the
the
high
zone once. It
schoolers
was
you
a
were
high
playing
schooler.
against.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably just
Right now?
Yeah, exactly. It
was just yesterday.
It was when I was in high school, guys.
Living his glory days. Take that, sucker.
So I don't even know why I was mentioning that.
Because the
Slow
impediment
Oh yeah,
curse.
the impediment. It just seems like
not
too
curse,
cheap and
but-
too
You
easy.
got lost
the
in the
hex.
game again.
It just seems too easy.
Like
was
you were
just
really
so
good
lost.
at it. Yeah, like but there must be things that
It's a
are
dead useful
a little
curse, though.
immune to
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
still, yeah, like that's one you got to have in your back pocket at all times.
Agreed. Yeah.
You have so many things in your pocket.
Yeah, big pockets, cargo pants, very
Cargo band
stylish.
pockets.
It is a 90s thing.
But yeah, he should carry a satchel. Oh, another thing I was going to mention, Harry's watch has come up a weird amount of times. I'm assuming not electric, so I'm curious what he's wearing. Great automatic watches or wizard watches. And I don't know what these watches do, but watches came up maybe once in the first book.
Yeah.
But in this book, it's coming up a few more times. His specifically, and now he's not wearing one. I'm like,
I thought his broke and he took it
yeah,
off.
and he took it off. But couldn't he just fix it?
He should've
Reparo?
given it
Yeah, with the
to
Reparo.
her.
What's going on? I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
He
How'd it
doesn't
break?
want to know time.
Sure.
Yeah.
But he was looking at Ron's watch instead because his was broken.
Just once.
Just once. But it does feel like a good thing to have around.
It is. Maybe because you like watches.
Maybe. And then I get excited whenever they're mentioned. I'm like, oh, what kind of watch?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Hermione wears a watch. Ron does. Harry did until it broke. Fred and George. Well, George at least. So yeah. Why is he not wearing one? I feel like it's going to cause him trouble later. Or,
To not have a watch.
well, I think I was also just kind of wondering like what you're allowed to bring on a challenge. So a Triwizard tournament, like, because we keep suggesting all these things, a fanny pack full of like all the good stuff you could ever want, like just like your little tool belt. And I feel like a watch is a tool. So if you're allowed to bring it, magic watch. I don't know what it can do. James Bond watch, you know, a little shoot a grapple or do whatever. But having a watch just feels like another thing you could bring on your little adventure, on a challenge. I don't know how it could help you.
They even mentioned that other ones are wearing
you
watches.
could at least
right?
make it a compass for the maze. That'd be useful.
Not for me.
But yeah, that was it for the chapter.
Yeah. I'm reading one more comic because this is
Are you
cool too.
sure?
We have some people who know extreme Harry Potter fans. Not me, but most extreme Harry Potter fan I've met actually bought the Weasley's flying car, a version of it, and Sirius's flying motorbike, and they renovated it to make it look exactly like it did in the movies, which I think is so cool.
Like the
real car?
real,
Not the real car they use in the movies, but the
but
real
they bought,
version
like,
of the car.
a physical
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Wow.
that'd be
That's
sick.
ultra fandom.
Can you imagine?
That's what we're
I can
attracting
see
on our
this one doing
podcast.
that.
I do want that motorcycle. I'm not
It's a
gonna
sweet
lie. Yeah, that
motorcycle.
thing is sweet.
Little sidecar like that. That's awesome.
What kind of motorcycle is it?
I don't know. I didn't get a close enough look, but it's old. I like those old bikes from the 50s.
Maybe that Sirius is back. We'll get a view of it. Okay, the Pensieve. Give me a quick summary of what happens in this chapter. Last chapter.
I feel like this whole chapter happens pretty much in Dumbledore's office. Physically, that's where Harry is, but he takes a mental journey through the Pensieve to watch the trials happen. So he watches 3 or 4 different trials, and then Dumbledore comes back, and then they kind of talk some things out.
How many dreams are there?
3?
I thought there was 3.
4.
So there's 3.
Okay, nice.
What's the first one?
Did write them down.
First.
Karkaroff,
Karkaroff. Second one.
Bagman,
Third one.
and then the 4 Death Eaters.
The 4 Death Eaters.
Right?
Yeah.
His son.
Crouch's son and the 3 others.
Yes.
The Heavy, the Light, the Woman.
The woman was one of them because I was listening to it, so I didn't catch.
And they seem really intense.
They seem
Oh
very
my gosh.
devoted. This chapter opens up. A shallow stone basin lay there with odd carvings around the edge, runes and symbols that Harry did not recognize. A silvery light was coming from the basin's contents, which were like nothing Harry had ever seen before. He could not tell whether the substance was liquid or gas. It was a bright whitish silver, and it was moving ceaselessly. The surface of it became ruffled like water beneath wind, and then, like clouds, separated and swirled smoothly. It looked like light made liquid or wind made solid. Harry couldn't make up his mind. Before Dumbledore explains this, what do you guys think this thing was? Like when you went into the thing, what do you think it was?
I thought it was like some kind of advanced potion, and then for a moment I thought it was a soul.
Whoa.
I don't know why, but I think maybe because all the headmasters were there. So then, like after that was in my head, like these paintings, and then I was like, "Whoa, what is that?"
That would kind of make sense because maybe Harry is taking the position of someone who was physically there. He enters into that soul, and that person was sitting next to Dumbledore at that meeting, and it was actually them.
Yeah, and even just the coloring, the brightness, the silver, it kind of gave me like similar vibes to a Patronus, but more, but a little different.
Do you have any ideas what it was?
I didn't really think that way. I feel like
because it gets revealed pretty quick later.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of time.
But I did freak out. I'm like, he fell in. How's he gonna get out?
Yeah,
it's like a scary moment.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, that would be my worst nightmare. Is like getting dropped somewhere and I don't know how to get out.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because initially he says it looked like he was looking through a little window,
right,
down into this big cavern.
Right, and then he's looking up for the window and it disappeared.
Yeah.
I'd freak
he
out.
falls through it. Yeah, that'd be terrifying, actually.
Yeah, that is true. Dumbledore kind of brought him out, but what if Dumbledore didn't come to get him?
I know. But then he kind of calmed himself down by like, okay, this has happened before. What was it before that? I'm blanking.
Oh, into the journal.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Diary. Nice.
Diary.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, old news. I've been through this before.
Yeah.
And I'll make it out.
But honestly, though, still kind of scary because the journal did not end that well. So this stuff is a little weird.
Harry does not learn his lessons very well.
Although it did feel like,
stuff.
I don't know Dumbledore well enough yet, but it feels like Dumbledore left this for Harry to look at.
I know, that's what I thought too.
Left it open. Like
those specific memories were there.
Yep. Like he was kind of setting this up to reveal this to Harry.
And
Harry still feels guilty about it, but Dumbledore has never once been harsh with him.
Yeah.
I feel like Harry should have been like, I was supposed to do that, right? You know, I don't know. It felt funny, but
didn't he say something like I'll be back? What did he say?
Yeah, like Dumbledore when he left.
Yeah, I guess it's not that important, but it was along the lines of like, make yourself at home and wink, wink, the door is open. Check it out. Because I feel like he couldn't tell Harry these things, but Harry was able to find out on his own. Because maybe they had some, if you're part of the court case, you can't share this information outside of it.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'm also, this kind of is giving credence to the theory that people can read minds. Because if Dumbledore can pull his own memories out, can he pull out other people's memories without them wanting them gone?
He kind of did something to Crumb, but what was that? That was...
Renovate. He reanimated him.
Unstunned him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That was a good catch, though.
I thought maybe.
It's also weird. someone was talking about Madame Maxime, and Harry was joking that like she'd be hard to miss, kind of. But then I'm thinking, wizards, there's always a way. And like Dumbledore said, he can be invisible when he wants to. So I have to figure like headmasters of a school, a very reputable wizarding school, they can be invisible when they want to.
Yeah.
So it seems silly to ever think that, oh yeah, I can't see them. They're probably not here. They could be anywhere.
I mean, there was this discussion about prejudice and who is actually prejudiced and who's not. And like Dumbledore, yes, he knows Madame Maxime. And sometimes the people that Dumbledore knows that we trust immediately. But I think a large part of this book is Dumbledore wrong about certain people that he trusts? Should he not trust certain people so quickly? And with Maxine, you're like, maybe Fudge doesn't have a point in saying like, oh, because she's a giant, look at what she is. That's not the right point. But maybe she's evil because she's just evil.
Right.
Maybe she was like a Death Eater before or something like that. A very large Death Eater that everyone knew. Oh, there's Maxine coming to, kill everyone.
Where's her tattoo though?
Yeah. Where's her dark mark tattoo on her forearm?
And that makes me think that it is something along those lines because Snape has it and he was a Death Eater. And so does Karkaroff.
So is there anybody else who has it? Is Karkaroff really the evil one? Because we get Karkaroff's trial here, which is really fascinating.
I hated all these trials. It made me cringe, and I don't like any of this stuff when I can feel like I put myself in their shoes and I'm like, that pain of like, you're trying to like get out of a situation and no one believes you and like being stuck and caught and then now you're sentenced.
Everything about that was terrifying, especially Karkaroff's. Like, you almost have a little sympathy for him in this. Like, yeah, he was a Death Eater. He was terrible. But he gets dragged by 2 Dementors, and then he gets put in this chair that locks him there. And then he's supposed to say these names. And then no one believes him. He's like, oh, this person's already dead.
He starts panicking.
Yeah.
Snape.
Yeah, he's just saying names. That's the name he said. He goes, not yet, cried Karkaroff, looking quite desperate. Wait, I have more. Harry could see him sweating in the torchlight, his white skin contrasting strongly with the black of his hair and his beard. Snape, he shouted. Severus Snape. Snape has been cleared by this council, said Crouch disdainfully. He has been vouched for by Albus Dumbledore. No, shouted Karkaroff, straining at the chains that bound him to the chair. I assure you, Severus Snape is a Death Eater. Dumbledore had gotten to his feet. I have given evidence on this matter already, he said calmly. Severus Snape was indeed a Death Eater. However, he rejoined our side before Lord Voldemort's downfall and turned spy for us at great personal risk. He is now no more a Death Eater than I am.
That was crazy.
Is Dumbledore wrong?
I don't like Snape still.
I just don't know why Snape would change sides. Was he ever loyal to Voldemort? He betrayed Voldemort. That feels weird. Maybe he sensed or knew or foresaw that Voldemort was going to lose or whatever. Or like you said, becoming like, it was like the backup plan. If it doesn't succeed, whatever this thing is, again, giving maybe Harry more credit than he deserves. But like, if it really was all about Harry, and they're like, look, backup plan, if it doesn't work out, go to school, become a teacher right now, go to Hogwarts, get in Dumbledore's good graces, figure all that out, and then you can kind of help us later. It just feels weird.
Oh, like what we were talking about last time, where it's the plot was like he was always going to be like the mole for Voldemort,
maybe,
and
or
go
something.
into Hogwarts.
So he could just be a very deep mole. They could be playing very, very long game. Voldemort could have maybe foreseen his downfall and said, "Snape, get in right now. I'm gonna fall, but I'm gonna rise again in a few years.
Yeah,
you need to be in a position."
Maybe.
If Voldemort knew that, that's weird. Could Voldemort have known that it wasn't going to work on Harry the first time, and all of this was the plan, the downfall, the like rise weird, again maneuver? Maybe.
I don't know.
Everyone really trusts Dumbledore.
Yeah.
His word carries weight.
What did he do? Like, I just want to know. I know that he's like a great wizard, but like how? And like, what did he was the only one that could protect or powerful enough against Voldemort? Like, I just
He
don't
discovered
get
the
how
12
he got
uses
his.
of dragon blood, first of all.
He what?
He discovered the 12 uses of dragon blood, and he's particularly famous for his defeat of the Dark Lord Grindelwald.
In 1945.
Okay, Hermione.
I love that you knew the name.
And they're the biggest nerds. Hermione.
Soon we're going to
Why
be
not?
getting our car and our motorcycle matching exactly what it looks like. Our broomsticks.
Wow. Can you just imagine the four of us riding in the Weasley's car?
I feel
Guys,
like
that'd be
if
so
funds were
great.
not an issue, we
That
would
would be
totally.
100%, yeah. We'd be riding to Universal in that.
So support us on Patreon.
You'd turn a plane into a flying car. That would be great.
Nice.
Wow.
Snape just is a shady guy here. You don't know whether you trust him or not, and you're on Harry's side because Dumbledore just has blind trust in him, it seems like, or maybe not even blind. He just trusts him for some reason that we just don't understand. But Harry thinks he's wrong. Everyone seems to think Dumbledore is wrong. Now there's always this thing, if Snape or if Dumbledore trusts someone, then he's okay. But Dumbledore trusted people maybe he shouldn't have trusted. Like, he didn't trust Quirrell, but that was a big flaw on his hiring side.
Yeah.
And maybe that there's people that he trusts right now who really shouldn't, who really we shouldn't be trusting, but JK is just leading us to believe that these people are trustworthy people.
And I think there's also like this weird thing where Dumbledore might know where someone's at presently, but people do change. And we're talking now over the course of decades. So, I mean, maybe Snape was always destined to become a Death Eater from high school stuff. Then he does become a Death Eater. And then even if he changes and really is good and Dumbledore's like, yeah, come on back. How does he know he doesn't change again? If you can change this many times, like even if he really genuinely was like, I'm going to be a great teacher and I'm turning it all around right here. Like life gets crazy and things change.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm afraid happened with Crouch. He starts at the Ministry with good intentions. He's an Auror. He's doing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, something changes. Well, big, crazy things change. And now, is he evil?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I feel like that's the biggest theme of this book, that people have like this roller coaster of like good and bad in them. And every one of these characters that we're introduced to, we initially have initial feelings on them. We're like, oh, this person's good, this person's bad. But then we learn their backstory and we're like, they had some shady things going about them.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Have you guys ever been to court?
Yeah.
That's a too personal question. I feel like Danny definitely has been multiple times. You have any good stories? Wasn't it one of your goals to have your rights read to you, and you had your rights read to you?
It was like an accidental goal. So in high school, like at the beginning of, I think it was senior year, I wrote like a bucket list for senior year. And there, a lot of them were very silly things. I wanted to make the world's largest cupcake, Guinness Book of World Records. More expensive than I thought. Changed my mind. But then like all these other random silly things. And one of them was to go to an insane asylum. And so a bunch of us went to this place called Greystone Insane Asylum. And we tried to plan it nicely.
It's an abandoned insane asylum.
Nobody was there. Yeah. This wasn't Mundo's. This is just like abandoned, whatever. And so I forget if I actually mentioned this story before because it came up with the fox scream. That's what at least I was thinking about it. Because we were going through the woods to get to this place. We wanted to pick a route where we didn't have to walk past any no trespassing signs or climb any fences. So instead we crawled on our like stomachs through brambles for like a half hour. And then we heard the fox screaming in the woods, and it sounded like an old lady screaming in the woods, and it was terrifying. Finally, we made it all the way through, and we were all actually scared now. And we're like, we don't want to go back through the brambles for a half hour when this creepy, scary lady's here. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. Insane asylum, we peek through the thing, we look over. Scariest part, we get up to a window and this light on the roof shines down towards us. Turns out it was automated and it was just like spinning. So then we're like dodging the light. We get to this window and it was the only light on in this whole place. When this building was built, it was the biggest building in the United States.
What?
And it was only passed up by the Pentagon when the Pentagon was
Oh
built.
my
So
goodness.
this place is huge, and the only light on in the whole place, this one light, we had to stand on someone's shoulders.
That's
So I think I was on
terrifying.
my friend Mark's shoulders,
Even
and I
hearing
peek
this.
over, and I just see this room covered with files, like folders full of patient records and stuff, all over the floor. And in the center of the room, a table, a dozen fresh roses on the center of the table.
That's not freaky at all.
A few petals had fallen down. You know, like these are real live roses. The only light on in the whole place. Creepy as anything. Anyways, as we're leaving, we're like, it's time to leave.
Oh my gosh.
Cops pull in.
Naturally.
And so 3 of our friends got caught because I think it was Mark and my friend Josh. Mark was trying to hide behind a tree that was like 3 inches wide. So as the cop goes by, he's like moving behind the tree.
I need to talk to him about that tomorrow.
And then, so anyways, it was funny. But then I get a call that they got caught, and there were like 11 of us. So then the rest of us are like, what are we going to do? And then one kid's like, we're going down together. I'm like, wait, let's talk about this. So he goes out, whatever. Then we take the ride in the cop car. There were multiple cops. We go over to the police station. We're sitting in the thing. And then the cop comes out, and he's like, I'm going to read you your rights. And I like look over at my friend Josh, and I'm like, like I'm like trying to hold it in. I'm like, this is so cool. And obviously it's stupid to think it was cool, but it was kind of cool. You have the right to remain silent. And I was like, oh my goodness. We're 11 of us are in this jail cell with like a toilet right there and like handcuffs and the whole thing. I was like, this
And
is
you
a
loved
lot.
it.
But the thing is, I think
check.
the key is I didn't really think we were doing anything wrong because it wasn't destructive or anything. So I was kind of like, well, let's see what happens. Point being, we did end up in court. And it was only for those of us who were over 18, 4 of us. And so we go down the line, and it was like student body president and whatever. I was a criminal justice major. The judge got a kick out of that. So it was just like this funny experience of then the judge kind of gets this feeling like, all right, you're just a bunch of kids messing around, whatever. He says, all right, $250 fine for each of you. And then he like pauses, and the prosecutor jumps up and says, Your Honor, we're asking for a minimum of $1,500 each. He says, I'm the judge here. $250 and a court fee. Have a good day.
gosh.
You know, like just sends us on our way. So, I mean, that was an expensive little adventure, especially for high school me.
Yeah.
But it did give me some time in court. And it's never happened since.
got
So I
your
guess I learned my lesson.
You learned your lesson.
Yep.
Whoever that judge was, well done.
Yep. Love that guy. So, yeah.
And you didn't go that route with your criminal
I said
justice.
criminal justice is not for me. Business.
Nice.
You guys
At
haven't
least
been in the
traffic
court?
court
What do
or
you
something,
think?
right?
I've been in traffic court. Yeah,
yeah,
for a traffic
nice.
violation.
Oh.
When it was, I was going 47 in what I thought was a 45, and it was a 25 because it was a graveyard. And you have to go 25 by graveyards. So
Well,
Wait,
in
is that an
case the
actual
ghosts
thing?
are
I've never
walking.
thought about that.
at least in
before.
this one section, it was by.
Whoa.
I think it's by a lot of graveyards, major roads. You have to slow down when you're at a graveyard, apparently. And I didn't know a cop was just waiting there, pulled over 3 people,
Oh, that's
and
so
I was one of
lame.
those. And because it was over,
Morning. No.
it was over 20 or something like that miles per hour. It was 4 points off my license.
That's so intense.
So the cop was like, you can go to court and appeal this. So I went to court. My uncle is a judge, or he was a judge. My second uncle, or my uncle twice removed or something like that was a judge. Wow. So he gave me this like out. I'm not going to rat him out, but he gave me like this like loophole in the system. He's like, you just need to plead guilty in the courtroom and say you're pleading guilty under like a first offense something. And I had to pay $550 for the court fee there, but the points would get taken off immediately because it was my first real offense of points getting on my license. So I remember going to court with my dad. I had dressed up, suit and tie, the hill, dressed up so nice. And I walked into the court, and it's like a massive amount of cases that the judge is hearing, right? So there's like 20 other people, and they're in like jeans and t-shirts, and they don't care at all about what they're wearing. And I'm the second person that goes into the courtroom. And as soon as I get up there, the judge looks at me and goes, I really like how you're dressed.
Yes.
He lectures me for maybe 5 minutes. and just like
Whoa.
lets me go off. I had to pay the court fees. It was like $500. He's like, yeah, this is fine. Like this is what you have to do. This is like how you get out of this because it's your first offense, all that kind of stuff. And he just kind of let me go. But I remember I was terrified. I couldn't you couldn't say anything. I couldn't get a word in because the judge was saying this, and this. And then he was like, okay, here, $500, next case. And then I just had to leave. I was like, thank you. I just left, paid the $500, got the 4 points off, and I was good.
Ooh. Was that your prom outfit?
Yeah, the green
Imagine if I showed up in that. Oh my gosh. Oh, anyway.
Like your outfit.
Yeah.
That's so great.
So what do you guys actually think of Karkaroff during this first trial? Did your opinion of him soften at all?
I felt bad for him, but I don't really know what he did, so.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we don't really know. Yeah, that's the thing about being a Death Eater. It just feels odd. Like, that's enough. You're a Death Eater, done. But like, did he kill someone? What did he do? I don't know. I definitely felt bad for him. I felt like even if he wasn't good, the fear of the Dementors was enough that he maybe doesn't need to go back. Maybe. Well,
he's obviously not back in Azkaban.
Yeah, right.
So he got out. Yeah, so it worked at least. Reduced sentence.
I feel like there should be more probation, which we kind of talked about before. Like, he shouldn't be able to go be a headmaster of a school.
A school particularly famous for dark wizards and witches
that's
and
crazy.
teaching the dark arts.
But, yeah, I don't know what he did, so I can't pass judgment. But I felt bad for him in this moment.
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of wanted him to be like getting free.
Yeah.
And did he really give up all these people? Did he know that some of them were already caught, and that's why he said those names first? I don't know, but it feels like he genuinely was giving people up, which feels like an about face.
Yeah.
No longer a Death Eater, willing to betray his Death Eater buds. Just be a normal guy.
How do you think Snape got off? I mean, it is by Dumbledore vouching for him, but do you think that they're just rounding up Death Eaters and throwing them in prison, or did the Death Eater have to have some criminal offense?
It seems like when Crouch is on his high horse, it was anyone that had some kind of correlation with Death Eater. I mean, Sirius Black didn't even have. I mean, maybe it looked like
12 people.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And even this, even his own son was found in the presence of these people. He feels like his son didn't do anything, which is why our theory about maybe he's covering something up might be a really valid one. He just has this righteous fury. Even the courtroom at that time, I love the changes in the feel of the courtroom. The first one kind of feels normal. It feels like a good, legitimate courtroom for Karkaroff, maybe.
With the chains on the chair.
Well, yeah, that's intense for sure. Actually, agreed.
Yeah.
That's an intense one for that kind of stuff. The next one is laughable. It's like.
But he didn't have chains on him, so I don't, because it was his first offense.
Yeah, and he's famous, so everyone loves him. But the last one to me was the scariest one when he Harry looked around and into the jurors' faces. Yeah, people had this fury in them. It was zeal to it was it doesn't matter if you have criminal offenses, really. We're going to just throw you in prison. And this criminal offense, I think, was one that resonated with a lot of people, too. Dumbledore, even talked about how Frank and Alice were really well loved. And so it might just be that a lot of these people really loved Frank and Alice. And they wanted to put these people away who had done this to someone. I feel like this is very akin to how a lot of us would feel if someone that we loved was tortured to a point of insanity. I don't care what if you're someone anybody who's involved in that is done.
But the fact that Crouch's son was literally I didn't do this.
Yeah.
That was so sad.
Yeah.
The other ones were just silent. They're yep, we did this. That lady.
Oh yeah.
What did she say? It was so ugh.
Before we get to that one, though, do you think that Bagman is a more serious Death Eater than is portrayed in this memory?
Maybe.
And then Dumbledore really thinks. Because you mentioned not trusting Bagman so much.
Yeah, I definitely don't trust him fully. But
He wasn't always in our top contenders.
yeah, he was always like suspicious for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's possible he was a Death Eater back, in the trial days, but then he kind of shaped up for a while and thought, well, Voldemort's not in power, so I guess I'm just gonna be a normal guy now. So I don't know. I don't know if he's like still bad or up to no good. Is he running from Voldemort? I don't know if he did the Dark Mark. I don't know. I kind of want to like him, but I don't trust him. So I'm still, jury's still out. But I feel like when Harry isn't asking him for help in the challenges, I'm kind of like, but he's like trying to help you. He's a nice guy. He might have been a Death Eater back
you're like,
then.
why isn't Harry taking this advice? Take any advice that you can.
Right. So I trust him to a certain degree. I'm not scared for him. When Harry was about to walk into the woods by himself, I'm like, yeah, hang out with Bagman. It's cool. I'm not worried about him in that regard. So I guess in a sense, I trust him.
And then we get this description in the next courtroom. The Dementors placed each of the 4 people on the 4 chairs with chained arms that now stood on the dungeon floor. There was a thick-set man who stared blankly up at Crouch, a thinner and more nervous-looking man whose eyes were darting around the crowd, a woman with thick, shining, dark hair and heavily hooded eyes, who was sitting in the chains as though it were a throne, and a boy in his late teens who looked nothing short of petrified. He was shivering, his straw-colored hair all over his face, his freckled skin milk white. The wispy little witch beside Crouch began to rock back and forward in her seat, whimpering into the handkerchief. We have evidence against you, the 4. The 4 of you stand accused of capturing an Auror, Frank Longbottom, and subjecting him to the Cruciatus Curse, believing him to have knowledge of the present whereabouts of your exiled master, he who must not be named. Father, I didn't, shrieked the boy in chains. I didn't, I swear it. Father, don't send me back to the Dementors. You are further accused, bellowed Mr. Crouch, of using the Cruciatus Curse on Frank Longbottom's wife when he would not give you information. You plan to restore he who must not be named to power, and to resume the lives of violence you presumably led when he was strong. I now ask the jury, and this is when they convict them. What do you think of Crouch and his son?
What do I think of Crouch and his son?
Mm-hmm.
I hate Crouch. He doesn't even listen to his son. He couldn't have pulled him I don't know, with another person, a third party. And then he says, I didn't even have a son.
Yeah, that was the sad part.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So you're sending him to Azkaban, and then you're telling him that you already disowned him before he even went there. Ugh. I think he was the wrong place, wrong time. Or he thought it was going to be funny, and then it went bad, and he was like, oh shoot. Yeah,
like a prank that just goes bad. Yeah. The one thing that's kind of scary in this whole image is that one woman that's sitting there in the courtroom, like she's on a throne. That's maybe this person got mixed in with the wrong crowd. This woman really wanted to torture these people.
Yeah, that's true.
Here, this kid who's terrified just gets kind of bullied into it and just falls into it accidentally, and he's petrified in this court right now.
Or it could be they know it's Crouch's son, so let's see
seriously,
blackmail him.
Yeah, honestly.
I think that's the only way I can think of his son as being innocent, because at least this woman, she seems pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And the stuff she's yelling when she's being put away.
Yep.
If he's hanging out with them just because they're his friends, or he likes hanging out with them, then I'd blame the son in some ways. You don't just get to a torture session like that. The details are a little vague, but if they were purposefully manipulating him to keep him around, thinking that it would help protect them later, then I can think of the son as more innocent. I do feel bad for him for sure. But I guess I don't fully understand why Crouch was being so harsh. He really wanted to be Minister of Magic and was afraid if he if he doesn't throw the book at his son and put him away, he wouldn't become Minister of Magic.
Yeah.
Is he choosing his job over his son now? Is that like the vibe?
I feel like this is the
Kinda.
bias of courtrooms. That there are times in history, in human history, when people have like a righteous zeal against some injustice that's going on. And especially if you attack someone really well loved. Like Frank and Alice seem to be really, really well loved. They seem to be very like popular with people. So if you attack someone like that, someone who's like, I don't know, who would be like the most popular who's the most popular person that everyone just loves, that no one hates. Like you attack that person and you're in a courtroom, no one's gonna listen to you at all.
Johnny Depp.
I know, I was literally thinking of that actually right when I mentioned it. Like yeah, I don't even want to get into that.
Yeah, like people actually did take both sides, but
Yeah,
my
seriously,
Instagram was the Johnny Depp supporting side, but my sisters, it was all Amber Heard. So
yeah,
the Instagram algorithm chose.
yeah, seriously, it chooses for you. It is fascinating. That whole trial was crazy with that. You don't attack someone who's well loved, and both of those people were well loved. So it was like two sides of the tricky coin, you know. So I think it was just a righteous fervor at the time of attacking someone who's really well loved, and everyone just wants to see justice. They don't care if it's true justice. They're seeking revenge. They're not seeking justice at this moment, which is dangerous.
I also love that Frank Longbottom didn't give them any information, so he actually like stood up to it.
Yeah,
He would have been a good secret
keeper.
Yeah.
So true.
But wouldn't that have that would have happened to Wormtail, and that would have happened to Sirius, right?
Yeah. And you guys know why Neville's one of my favorite characters. One of the most tragic backstories, and his parents just were well loved and did not cave in, no matter how much they were tortured. They were tortured to the point of insanity. Maybe they were secret keepers of something. Maybe we'll find something like that out. But they had the fortitude to not say anything against people that they loved, to keep people that they love safe. It's so sad and so beautiful. Any other thoughts on this trial before we get into like some of the explanation of it a little bit and some other little details? Some of your theories do get confirmed here.
Oh yeah.
About like Harry's scar, really. Not about your other
Come
theories.
on.
Not about your other wild theories on some of this kind of stuff.
I
They're not
have
wild.
a theory. Moody would talk a lot in movies. The whole trial, he's whispering to Dumbledore, whispering. I'm just like, Moody, quit it.
Shut up.
Let me listen.
I feel like Dumbledore's doing that to him. He's like, dude, just shut up and let me listen
I
to this
get it.
stupid
I'm
trial.
here. I'm watching it. I know.
He's like, took a chunk of me with him. You're like, shut up. I'll take another chunk of you with me. When Dumbledore explains what this is, though, Harry asks, what is it? Harry said shakily. This is called the Pensieve, said Dumbledore. I sometimes find, and I'm sure that you know the feeling, that I simply have too many thoughts and memories crammed into my mind. Ooh, said Harry, who couldn't truthfully say that he ever felt anything of the sort. At these times, said Dumbledore, indicating the stone basin, I use the Pensieve. One simply siphons the excess thoughts from one's mind and pours them into the basin and examines them at one's leisure. It becomes easier to spot patterns and links, you understand, when they are in this form. Do you like the idea of the Pensieve? The Pensieve, as us Americans say it?
Yeah, I don't really understand it fully, but I like the idea. Seems really cool.
What don't you understand about it?
Maybe like if your thoughts are jumbled, like how do you pull them out specifically then to put them there?
Yeah.
And I guess I'm just like thinking, what thoughts are you putting in a bowl? Like the way the thoughts are interacting is what's bringing things up. I don't fully know how it helps, but if you could dive into your memories, like Harry did accidentally to Dumbledore's, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Reliving moments, sure, like a journal, but the memories themselves, yeah, I'm just not positive.
And Dumbledore here mentions that it helps you decipher patterns, which might not necessarily be patterns in the memories, but they might be patterns in your own understanding of those things that you might be able to decipher and take those patterns out to be able to view something in a objective way, I guess.
Yeah.
But it could just be
I get
he's like
that.
looking at these through looking for patterns in these things. I love this line too. Professor, I was in divination now, and I fell asleep. He hesitated here, wondering if a reprimand was coming, but Dumbledore merely said, "Quite understandable. Continue." I love
I
that.
remember that part.
Dumbledore is great. I love him so much. But we do get confirmation of why Harry's scar hurts,
Yeah.
which is what?
If he's around, Voldemort's nearby,
Yeah,
or
Voldemort's
if
around.
Voldemort has extreme hatred towards someone,
Yes.
which is probably to perform. I would think you would need that emotion of hatred to perform, right? A curse or
Yep.
spell or something.
So when has Harry had these dreams too? What is the correlation between his dreams? The first dream that he had for Voldemort doing something, what happened?
Killing someone.
Killed
Yeah,
Frank Bryce. There's probably extreme anger. You have to, if you're using the killing curse, you have to have extreme anger. That's what Moody kind of said. And in this moment, someone dies too, and Harry has another dream. But we're
that
not
makes
introduced to the
sense.
killing curse in this moment. We're introduced to more hatred, specifically toward Wormtail, kind of. So,
Why he hates muggles. Voldemort.
yeah.
I said it makes sense now.
Yeah,
I feel
seriously.
like it just clicked for me
Yeah.
with his family.
He's a hateful dude. Yes, yeah.
But he kills wizards and muggles. Or maybe he kills wizards that support muggles. Or it doesn't matter now. Now he's too powerful. It doesn't matter.
You'll find out some of those details as we go on. There's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll find out some of these details as we go on about who exactly he hates and maybe some of the reasons why he hates people. But he has extreme hatred.
Yeah. Definitely seems like it. Was there another time, or was it just with Frank and now that his scar was hurting?
I think it was just with Frank and now.
Okay.
I don't think there was another time. There might have been another time, but
Yeah, I couldn't think
can't
of
In
any.
a
remember.
different
makes sense.
book, right?
yeah, and in different books, I guess he's had like some slight visions, and there's been his scar is tingled in certain sections, so that's when maybe Voldemort was close, but he hasn't had his like these visions and these dreams.
Yeah.
Really none of any other section, but this one. The first one is the first chapter of this book when you kind of just jump into the story really quickly.
Who put a
then-
hex on Bertha?
What?
Oh, Bertha was complaining to Dumbledore at the beginning, like a page ago, when she was 16 in Dumbledore's memory.
Oh.
And she's like, "He put a hex on me, Professor Dumbledore, and I was only testing him, sir, or teasing him, sir. I only said I'd seen him kissing Florence behind the greenhouse last Thursday." So somebody was kissing Florence behind the greenhouse.
But that's not plans. It's JK,
And
JK dropping a
Bertha
hint.
saw it. We don't know anyone named Florence, do we?
Not yet. Maybe we'll meet someone named Florence, guys. Maybe that's the key that unlocks
Is
everything. for
Bertha
us.
old enough to tease Voldemort? Could it be Wormtail?
I was thinking
Hard time
Snape.
picturing Wormtail kissing anyone
Yeah.
behind the greenhouse. But Snape, I
Ugh.
feel like, is where my mind went.
It did too.
He would give a hex big time.
Snape would give it hex, or
But
Snape
he
would be
wouldn't be
making out with
kissing
someone
anyone
behind the
either.
greenhouse.
Maybe both. I don't know.
I can't
I don't
really
know. I gotta
picture-
see a picture of Florence
What
to
would
understand.
what would Snape's girlfriend look like?
a
Woof.
girl version of her. Like
Woof.
Christmas vacation.
You don't think he would go
Home
for
Alone.
someone like opposite, like some blonde or something
He
like
would
that? That he's
go
been
for
with?
that, but he's not getting that.
Is Snape a scorned lover right now? Is that why he is the way he is? That's so
He's like, I'm
funny,
never
too.
washing my hair again.
That's his way
It's
of
so
revolting.
funny. Oh my
I
gosh.
know.
It's just a way of getting back at them. We have this one line, and this is the line that really, like, we're gonna pivot because this is gonna make me emotional. But this is the line, and this is a long one. You know the trial you found me in, the one with Crouch's son. Well, were they talking about Neville's parents? Dumbledore gave Harry a very sharp look. Harry has never ever told you why he has been brought up by his grandmother. Harry shook his head, wondering as he did so how he could have failed to ask Neville this in almost 4 years of knowing him. Yes, they were talking about Neville's parents, said Dumbledore. His father, Frank, was an Auror, just like Professor Moody. He and his wife were tortured for information about Voldemort's whereabouts after he lost his powers, as he heard. So they're dead? Harry said quietly. No, Dumbledore said, his voice full of a bitterness Harry had never heard there before. They are insane. They are both in St. Mungo's hospital for magical maladies and injuries. I believe Neville visits them with his grandmother during the holidays. They do not recognize him. Harry sat there horror-struck. He had never known. Never in 4 years bothered to find out. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, pretty intense.
Man, it's so sad.
It's crazy that you didn't ask him ever.
I know. Seriously.
Did your parents die like mine? Like he has the perfect
Oh, like
in.
something in
Yeah.
common. Yeah, that's true. I feel like Harry has the right to ask that. Maybe nobody else could.
Exactly. That's what
I mean, anyone could, but it'd be tough.
And then that makes me go back to like Moody. Remember when Moody he was doing the Cruciate? I can never say these things. Cruciate.
Yeah.
Curse.
Cruciatus Curse, yeah.
And he was talking about it in class. Then Moody said, "Come with me after, right? When we talk to you."
Yep. So he was like, we even talked about it then. He was just like damaged, like something was
Yeah.
going behind the scenes there.
I feel like we don't see a lot of the little conversations. You know, like we're only getting the highlights like we talked about. It'd be a fun book to just be a mundane year.
Yeah, seriously.
But this is like, I guess I just kind of assume everyone's talked about it.
Yeah.
Hermione has told all the stories of growing up with dentist parents and like whatever. So this is like, does anyone ever ask Neville about his life?
Yeah.
Because not just Harry, but like he hasn't overheard anything. He shares a room with the kid. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it should have come up. So I'm glad Harry feels a little bad about it.
They didn't even ask
but-
him, "What did you do during the holiday?"
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not that he would.
But
maybe
Neville also
bring it
might
up,
not
but-
Yeah.
bring it up.
You're right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
Poor
ask why
Neville.
Neville doesn't bring this up. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right. Even if they ask about like what'd you do over the holiday, Christmas break or something, he might just give another answer. Or maybe.
But when
nobody
you start
asks.
to trust someone, I feel like you would eventually share that.
Mm.
4 years.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
I don't know.
Oof. I've probably done this myself.
Yeah, seriously. I know. I got how many kids that I grew up with in like high school and they like, you know, live with their grandma or something like that. And I never asked them like why they live with their grandma or something like that. You know, there's a lot of sad things that happen like that you just don't notice about people until you get pulled into something. This is so sad. Ugh, man, it crushes me. And this is the last one. We didn't even have to talk about this one because we talked about it before. But this is the last line that's really interesting here. Harry looked into Dumbledore's light blue eyes, and the thing he really wanted to know spilled out of his mouth before he could stop it. What made you think he'd really stop supporting Voldemort, Professor? Dumbledore held Harry's gaze for a few seconds and then said, "That, Harry, is a matter between Professor Snape and myself." So a question to think about for the future. What is that? What was this little secret thing that they have between Professor Snape and Dumbledore?
Snape earned his trust.
In what way?
In one
Saved
moment.
his life.
Maybe this is Dumbledore's real blind side. That's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, I don't like that it's one moment. It feels like one thing.
Yeah.
Like
Didn't
there's
he
a
say
thing
that
that
you're
happened
tied to
between
them
just the two
too?
of them.
Yeah.
You're- Oh yeah, he said like if you like
you're
Wormtail and it's and
At least
Hmm.
magic that like has no trace or something like that, or like something like that. Yeah, magic that ties you to another person.
yeah, he's like forever indebted to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Something
maybe the
along-
same thing. Ooh.
Snape and Dumbledore.
Interesting theories, guys. Interesting theories.
Hmm.
All right,
Murder
anything else?
can be planned.
Yeah.
Oh
We're-
boy.
We're
What?
running late, but anything else
Oh.
in these chapters?
When reading this part where Harry's summing up his dream, I'm thinking Wormtail messing up is when Crouch was in the forest. Because the timing of that whole interaction happening, and then the next chapter of the dream, Harry is having this whole dream thing. It feels like we don't know anything that's going on, but no matter how you slice it, the bad guy's messed up in that part. Crouch should not have been there going crazy. Yeah. Whether it was Crouch's doing, or Wormtail, or Bagman, or Crumb, or Karkaroff, or Snape, I don't know. But yeah, I think that was the mistake. But I just still can't figure out who died.
Because his
Does that mean they
dreams are
killed
delayed?
Crouch right there?
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Oh,
Might be dead. We'll see.
interesting.
But he messed up. Somebody died. I don't know. That's where I'm sitting at the moment. Wow, this is so exciting. We're going to be able to keep reading
I know.
tonight.
You can keep reading tonight.
And I think we're going to do 4 chapters.
4?
The next 4 are just
How
a
long
unit.
is our recording going to be?
Long.
We'll probably,
Break
maybe we'll
it
do that
up
recording on like
into
a Saturday
5.
morning.
Ooh,
Break it up into
yeah.
5 different podcasts. 4 chapters and 5 podcasts.
Are we going to get answers? Don't answer that.
The next 4 chapters are pretty tight unit.
Is that the
So we
end?
have to read all of them together.
That's not the end of the book, is it?
No, it's not.
We're getting
There's-
to it.
Are we
still
allowed
have
to look
7
at the
chapters
title
left.
Nice.
chapter?
So we'll do
Do it,
4
Jenn.
and then 3. So we have
That's a
2 more like
dangerous
readings. What?
I
She
like.
was going to read the chapter title.
like
No. Don't
doing
read.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, the chapters don't really say too much, but
I feel like for the House Cup, I'm almost thinking about Dumbledore on this one.
oh, okay.
I don't think he's gotten one
Yeah.
yet, but I'm going to assume he left his little cabinet open with his Pensieve in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels like a pro move.
Yeah.
And even
Guiding Harry.
I don't think Harry got the password right. What are the chances he just stumbles on it? I think Dumbledore opened the door.
Oh
What?
no, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't understand how there's no like spell or saying or something to call your headmaster when it's an emergency.
Yeah, that is a little silly, right? Like,
Like, I have
imagine
to
if Harry
run
didn't
back
get
to
it
the-
right. You really needed him. That would have been bad.
But he had to go back into the.
Oh, yeah,
like,
physically, right.
Yeah. That seems so stupid.
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be a good old spell. Or even the thing Bagman did with his microphone voice thing while he was announcing the World Cup.
Yeah.
Teach students how to do that and just
Dumbledore.
say, like you're in trouble
That's
if
a
you
great
do it in
like
bad
whistling
situations,
thing for females too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's a
Yeah.
safety feature.
Yeah.
Hogwarts is missing.
Dumbledore is a great character in this, though.
Yeah.
Is there
I didn't
any?
even ask that, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking House Cup stuff.
Is there
already.
any other person who would win House Cup besides Dumbledore?
I have no idea. My brain has shut down. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Hermione,
Oh.
Hermione's not bad.
she's not bad.
She doesn't have. I mean, she's not like out. She's not like shining in these chapters. She's like smart, and she's always smart.
If it was just one chapter, you could throw Hagrid's name in the mix, for
yeah.
his great class.
Good lesson.
Like most improved teacher.
We'll do that award next.
Yeah.
Most every single few chapters. Most improved teacher award.
Because Hagrid, it's great.
Yeah. Dumbledore, I think.
Yeah, it's gotta
I
be
think Dumbledore gets it. Do you guys
Yeah.
disagree?
No, I can get on that train.
Yes. The Dumbledore train.
It was in the past, so I feel like we can't give it, but Frank, though, the double Frank, Longbottom and other
Frank
Frank.
Bryce. Frank Bryce and Frank Longbottom.
Yep.
We are going to give an honorary
Definite honorary to those boys.
honorary House Cup to the Franks and to Alice,
Alice.
his lovely wife. Man, that makes me so sad. What's your guys' favorite moment in these chapters? I will say, in a sad moment, this is my favorite moment is the passage that I just read about Frank and Alice and how Harry finds that out. It's probably on this read. This is the first time that when I've been reading, I've teared up at something. I tear up at different sections almost every time I read it, but this is one of those sections that it gets me almost every single time because Neville is one character that I really, really love, and his transition from being really shy and reserved, not really showing a lot of bravery, to really having bravery. When we get it in these few chapters, like he seems to be growing in immense ways, just like his parents. And it's just going to take him a little while to get there because he's living with his gran, who is a little bit more strict. But now that you know his backstory of who his parents are, to me, it's like, makes me love him so much. And it makes me hurt for this dude. I feel so bad for Neville. So this is my favorite section. It's a sad one, but I'm a depressing sad guy. So
Very fitting.
What do you guys got?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same.
Yeah.
Yep. I think I'm just thinking of Harry in that situation, like his whole conversation with Dumbledore. I feel like I'm feeling growth in Harry in that conversation.
Yeah.
Like he's realizing so much more about the world, about Neville. He feels a little bad about not being a good friend. I can't believe I never asked him. I think he's even like respecting Dumbledore more. He's noticing that Dumbledore looks older than he's ever looked. He's like, he's humanizing Dumbledore now. Like, it feels like Harry matured in these few pages, which I think is cool to watch.
Yeah, seriously.
So yeah, I think it just that post-trials debrief with Dumbledore was great.
Keep hitting my hat on the mic. Keep forgetting it's there. Yeah, I loved that moment too. I actually loved Dumbledore and how he kind of handled the whole thing.
Yeah, honestly.
Like you could feel Harry's nervousness. Like, am I going to get in trouble? Like I, went into this thing and, I, whatever. But I had a thought and it's gone. Wow, guys.
Even with what you're saying before, though, I love Dumbledore's response to his to when Harry was leaving, and he's like, "Harry, Neville has the right to tell you when he chooses. Respect that."
Yeah, I was gonna say Dumbledore. I love how he like demands respect, kind of in such a soft way.
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess because like you can feel that Harry respects him.
So good.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's not reprimanding him, but he's like, it's okay what you did.
Yeah.
But there's still that respect there.
Yeah.
So I liked that.
Yeah, he really does. And you're seeing that in these chapters so much. Dumbledore is a person, not really to be feared, but people just respect him. Sometimes to a fault maybe, but he is really, like you see in these chapters, he just commands a room. And he's like a very respected character.
And because people hang on every word, it seems, he communicates so much in a word. Like even where Harry is like, he could tell the interview was over from the way that Dumbledore responded. Harry knew in the tone, but it wasn't an unfriendly tone. It wasn't harsh. It was just like, he packs a lot into his words, which is awesome.
So good. Such a good character. Jen, what's your favorite moment of these?
You guys said all great ones. But I like when Hagrid has Karkaroff pinned to the tree.
Oh, that was so good.
You apologize.
That was
Or
great.
something along those.
I was trying to think of it. Thank you for sparking my memory. This is the first time Dumbledore yells.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I noticed in the
Ah.
books. He yelled, "Hagrid, stop," or something like that.
Yep.
That was a great moment. That shows Hagrid's character too, which I love.
And even when they were approaching the forest, it felt like Dumbledore quickened his pace twice.
Yeah.
First, he started like moving a little quicker, and then he widened his strides again.
Yeah.
I was like, there's an urgency here we've never seen from Dumbledore.
Cool.
But after Harry was like saying different people were around and whatever, then it got faster and faster.
And that I think was weird to see that Dumbledore didn't know. And he's like, oh, the situation's changed. I will have to change my pace. And then I'm like, whoa. And then to yell.
And then in the meantime, Snape is flying there in his bat form.
Oh my. And
Like
Moody
Halloween.
just appears.
Yeah, and Moody just appears out of nowhere. Because he's drinking Polyjuice potion, maybe. Anyway, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Until next time.
Wow, we could do a fan meetup at some point.
I know we gotta.
At the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
I feel like
Give
we could
them
do
enough
something.
notice and say, we're going to be down there after a nightmare. They're like, nope, secret stuff. We are not going to do that.